the outside for a strike. Thanks for bearing with us. A few technical difficulties. You missed the first out of the game. Anthony Servideo chopped out towards second base. Trey Cruz made the play. So we'll walk you through the lineup. Anthony Servideo leading off, playing short. Lucas Dunn in the box right now. It's his first start of the summer. He's a Louisville Cardinal, playing second and batting second, followed by Trevor Hauver, batting third, playing left field. Hunter Goodman in the cleanup spot, DHing, as that ball misses up and away, 1-2. Rounding out the order, Mitch McIntyre, batting fifth, playing center. Brooks Carlson, a teammate of Samuel Strickland, who is on the bump. He's batting sixth, playing first. Rigsby Mosley, batting seventh, playing right field. As this ball settles outside, 2-2. Jared DeSantolo, batting eighth, playing third base. And Chad McDaniel doing the catching. And at the 9 spot, David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. Thanks for joining us here on this beautiful day on Cape Cod. The 4-4-1 Commodores taking on the 1-9-1 Harbor Hawks. Lucas Dunn fouls one away, and it stays 2-2. Samuel Strickland getting his second start of the summer. He's got a 4.50 ERA. And in his first start, gave up 2 earned runs on 7 hits with 1 strikeout against the Harwich Mariners. That was game 2 of a doubleheader on Father's Day. Commodores were rained out again last night against Brewster. They have now played the fewest games out of any team in the Cape League at 9. Woo! Ball number 3 misses upstairs and a full count. So a good first at-bat worked by Lucas Dunn in his debut in the Cape.
If you were to ask a hockey fan, anytime you have games in hand, it means an automatic win. So I wonder if the Doors are thinking that.
Full count is fouled back. Lucas Dunn, perhaps a bat that the Harbor Hawks need right now. A rising junior at Louisville, batted .309 during his sophomore campaign. 59 hits, 10 doubles, 1 home run, and 25 RBIs. Strickland's 3-2. Spoiled again, foul. Ranging over as Ross, but he runs out of space.
Interesting to see Lucas Dunn playing second base. He was pretty consistently a center fielder for Louisville pretty much all season, and into the postseason in Omaha he was playing center field. So I guess Hyannis trying to shuffle around some of their guys and put guys where they need to be just based off of roster limitations. And I wonder how that's going to pan out in the field.
Another full count pitch is outside, ball 4. So a long first at-bat worked by Lucas Dunn. It was a 9-pitch at-bat, and he draws a walk.
Lucas has wasted no time getting to the Cape. I mean, Louisville was just knocked out of Omaha, less than a week ago? Typically, guys take a week off, maybe 10 days off, if not more. Lucas gets here immediately, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat. All that travel has not had him put setback at all, as he just worked out such a great at-bat and eventually gets on base, so his eye is all there.
Trevor Hauver batting third. Watches a first pitch strike from Strickland. So it's Strickland's second start of the summer. He's a Samford Bulldog. Grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. So he stayed in state to play his college baseball. Stands at 6'2", 225. Big lefty. Misses low and away. It's bobbled. Throw down to second base. It's going to leak into center field. Dunn is up and going towards third. Throw from Deloach to third is there, but Dunn slides in safely. Lucas Dunn wasting no time on the base paths either. That's a stolen base and an E2.
Spark plug that Hyannis desperately needed. He's going to add a lot of talent to at the plate, a lot of talent on the base paths. He's a very quick guy, and he gets things going right away for Hyannis. And that puts Strickland in a tough spot where he's pretty much got to get a strikeout or a soft ground ball back to himself to keep this game scoreless.
Taylor Smith is doing the catching for the Commodores tonight as the 1-0 catches the inside part of the plate and evens the count. He is a rising sophomore who will be at Grayson County College next year. That's a JUCO. Spent his freshman year at Incarnate Word. Just activated a couple days ago and getting his first start of the summer. Ball 2 misses low.
I'm so glad you told me that. I was trying to figure it out where he was. I thought he was at Grayson first and then Incarnate Word.
It was a little bit tough to follow, but he is transferring. Was a freshman All-American this year with the Cardinals. This one is a high chopper over towards short and bobbled by Kevin Kendall. Lucas Dunn scores. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks take a 1-0 lead.
And that's a mental mistake. It's a physical error, but a mental mistake for Kendall because he just took his eyes off of the ball going into his glove a second too early. He looked up towards first base. He was gauging where along the base path's hover was, how fast he would have to throw it, and he took his eyes off the ball just as it was approaching his mitt, which, of course, that's a pretty common error that you'll see.
Swing and a miss on the first pitch to Hunter Goodman. Goodman, the DH, plays his ball at Memphis. 175 average on the summer, but he's got a ton of power. 5 extra base hits, 3 of them doubles, and 2 long bombs. Also leads the team in RBIs with 7. Fouls back to second pitch and quickly behind 0-2. In Strickland's first outing against the Mariners, the defense behind him didn't help out too much. One of his runs was unearned, and the second one could have been as well, as there was a play off of the mitt of Zach DeLoach in center field. Here's a soft ground ball to Kevin Kendall. He'll go to Trey Cruz at second, to Ross at first, but not in time. They get the lead runner, and now 2 down.
Still impressive to get their lead runner. That was such a softly hit ball that Kendall had to charge it not only, but also get a quick transfer off, delivered a strike to Trey Cruz. So he makes up for his mistake a little bit by getting the lead runner when I think most other shortstops would have decided, let me just get the guy at first.
Commodores already with 2 errors tonight. They've had their fielding woes before this year. They sit at 8th in the Cape League in fielding percentage at .959. Ball 1 misses upstairs to Mitch McIntyre.
A lot of those errors that I've seen across the Cape League, not just specific to Falmouth, has been those errors from the catcher throwing over to second base that has allowed a guy to take third.
Commodores had 2 errors in Game 2 of the doubleheader against YD. That was their last time out. Fastball goes way up and into Mitch McIntyre. Hits him on the shoulder, and now 2 runners on with 2 down.
Now batting, the first baseman from Sanford University.
Strickland doesn't, he didn't have to worry about the runner on base. He just had to focus on getting a strike over the plate. Hopefully his fielders behind him wouldn't make any more mistakes, but goes with a breaking ball that does not break, stays way far inside. Right in between the numbers on the back. You can't get any more square than that.
First pitch swinging is Brooks Carlson, a teammate of Samuel Strickland's. He lofts it into right field, but Barron Radcliffe is there to make the play. Hyannis adds 1 because of a couple errors by the Commodores. Falmouth will be up in the bottom of the first after the break. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field. Bottom of the first inning here as, Danny, we look at the lineup. And really, a lot of Pac-12 players have been coming to town, but still some new additions. And this is a good-looking lineup for the Doors.
If you had told me that Hayden Cantrell was going to be designated hitting this early in the season, I would have called you a liar. But You know what? He's earned it. He is hitting so well, and they're deciding that they want Kendall to be playing short with Cruz at second, deciding who's going to fit where best on the infield. Can't blame Jeff Trundy for that. And then, there's been a lot of shuffling in this lineup. Langworthy back in the lineup hitting cleanup because he's got the power. Trey Cruz still at the third hole. I always pictured him more as a contact hitter, but he's cemented in the third hole for quite some time. Barron Radcliffe has been shuffled around a bunch. He's now down at 7, and Kendall's still at 9, which I actually really like because he's a great contact hitter with a lot of power too, just like Cantrell. So you've kind of got 2 contact fiends with a lot of speed and threats of power at 1 and 9, both ends of the lineup. Not many teams can say they have that.
Yeah, sort of that double leadoff strategy from Jeff Trundy. We saw last summer Hayden Cantrell was sometimes in the 9 spot because of his speed and contact ability.
And like I said, it's not just speed and contact that those two bring. It's power, too, because, Kendall's first hit on the Cape was a double into the gap that went off the wall. Hayden Cantrell leading the Cape League with 3 home runs.
Yep.
So it's definitely a I've never seen a lineup that can boast that. And then you've got guys in the middle, got plenty of power too. I mean, Austin Langworthy's just waiting to get unleashed. Zach DeLoach has shown double after double after double. He's been doing just that. We know Barron Radcliffe with his size can put a charge into one. So this is a team that definitely is just waiting for that home run bug to get there. As for now, a lot of extra base hits, especially after the way they started.
And on the mound for the Harbor Hawks, getting his first start of the summer, is a rising junior with the Missouri Tigers, Connor Ash. He has been outstanding so far for Hyannis. He's got the 4th most innings pitched on the team with 7. And he still hasn't allowed an earned run. So a 0 ERA, he's only given up 3 hits, 5 walks, while he's struck out 14. Opponents are batting 130 against Ash. Hayden Cantrell will try to change that. He takes a first pitch ball. And the Doors have seen Ash before. He pitched 3 innings in a 9-9 tie a couple weeks ago. Doors only got 1 hit off of him, worked 2 walks, and struck out 3 times. Hayden Cantrell swinging. This one's in foul territory. DeSantolo gives chase, but he can't get there. 1-1.
Yeah, Ash was really the reason that Hyannis kept that game tied. I mean, part of the reason why Falmouth was able to tie the game up with some mistakes from Hyannis was great hitting and whatnot. And then finally Hyannis brought in Connor Ash, and it's all of a sudden those bats went quiet in that game. So Ash was a crucial point for Hyannis, and definitely not a sight that Falmouth wants to see too often.
Ash misses again, a 2-1 count. And you mentioned Cantrell DHing. I was interested to see what Jeff Trundy would do with those 3 middle infielders he has, and Kevin Kendall, Trey Cruz, and Hayden Cantrell, because Cruz and Cantrell have played both second and short. As this ball misses inside. Kendall is strictly shortstop. We haven't seen him over at second base, at least so far this summer. So you kind of got a puzzle if you're Jeff Trundy, because you want all 3 guys to be playing, and it seems like having Kendall, Cruz, and Cantrell DH every now and then might be the solution. This is a high, deep drive into center field. Mitch McIntyre is back right at the wall, and he makes the catch. Cantrell again with that power, just a little bit under it. 1 down.
He's swinging such a good bat right now. I mean, that stroke is as smooth as you can get it. Even when he gets under the ball like he did right there, he's launching it. So clearly put on a lot of weight over last summer, this summer, during the school year as well. And more importantly is he's making contact a lot more. I mean, this was a guy who had a sub-200 average last year. And then this year, like I said, the swing just looks so much better. He looks so much more comfortable at the plate.
Zach DeLoach batting second, at Texas A&M Aggie. This is the highest he's batted in the Commodores order, and why not? He has been on fire as of late as well. 333 average, 3 RBIs, and a double. Ash's 1-0 is high and away.
If the Doors were able to play more games this past week, I really think they could have had one of their best weeks of the season, maybe of the summer, even in the future as well. Just with the way other teams were playing, still kind of adjusting to the Cape, and these guys seemed like they had it all figured out against the shortened Hyannis game, the shortened Wareham game, and then in the doubleheader where, granted, they lost Game 2, but they looked so good in Game 1. I figured if they had more games to be played, they could show off a little bit more, but alas, it wasn't meant to be.
2-0 is fouled away with a 2-1. Danny, you mentioned those other teams. Really, no team has broken away at the top of either division. Ash delivers this one lofted into left field. No problem for Trevor Hopper, who's under it and makes the catch. I was looking at the standings last night. There are 6 teams with 6 wins.
Yeah, everybody's right around 500.
Everyone is right around 500. At this time last year, you saw YD, Wareham a little bit starting to pull away. Chatham has the best record on the Cape at 7-4-1. But again, they've played 3 more games than the Commodores.
Yeah, and the only team I can really point to that has definitely like one specific thing where they're pulling away with is Orleans. Orleans' pitching staff is unbelievable. I mean, last Sunday, they swept a doubleheader, both games being 1-0.
Yeah.
So I can point at Orleans and say their pitching staff should be putting them, above everybody else, but they're another team right around 500 at 6-4-1.
Cruz swung and missed at the first pitch. He gets a hold of the second one, but fouls it back. Cruz, 370 on the summer, a double, a home run, and 5 RBIs. Batted .305 last year at Rice with 71 hits. All-Conference USA second team. He's another switch hitter for the Commodores, and he and Cantrell have been a tandem. 1-1 misses upstairs.
Yeah, I don't think Cantrell is Cantrell without Cruz, because the way that they play together on the field and then when they're in the lineup together, I mean, Cruz is 6 for his last 9 as well. So Hayden was 6 for his last 9, and we talked about it all during the pregame show. Well, Trey has done that as well, just not with the RBIs and the home runs.
Cruz gets a hold of one into deep center field. McIntyre has a read on it and makes the catch. 3 loud outs for the Commodores. They've gotten a hold of Connor Ash, but put it right into dead center and dead left field. So they go down in order. It's 1-0 Hyannis as we head to the second inning.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Top 2 here at Gov Fuller Field. Sam Strickland gets back on the mound after giving up another unearned run, Danny. Commodores' defense has looked shaky in certain games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and those were 2 errors that were very avoidable. The throw down from Smith, it was a pretty good throw. It just the scoop wasn't made. It gets behind a couple of guys, and that's one that not really avoidable. And then the Kevin Kendall one, that's an error he's going to make 1 in a million tries. So Sam Strickland, unfortunately, back on the mound, getting burned by those.
Rigsby Mosley will start things off for the boys in blue. He takes a ball inside. Calling balls and strikes tonight is Mike Beal. Dave Perry's over at first. Mike Hinojosa, third base umpire. Lefty-lefty matchup here to start the second. This one cracked down the right field line. Radcliffe has a run on it. This one is off the wall. Radcliffe picks it up, but a stand-up double for Rigsby Mosley.
And that's an issue that Sam Strickland is going to run into. If you don't trust your fielders, is leaving pitches like that over the middle of the plate. That was middle into Mosley. Every lefty loves it right there. It was just above belt high. And if he had a little bit more oomph on it, would have put it over the wall, because that hit square in the middle of the fence in dead right field.
Hit off the white tie limousine sign out in right field. You can maybe get a look at it on our stream, but plenty of ads and sponsors decorating the outfield fence here at Gov Fuller Field, and a new windscreen. I like the fact that they made it match with the maroon.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Sam Strickland now in the stretch with the runner in scoring position. Inside pitch to DeSantolo. 8-hitter from FAU. He batted .298 this past year with the Owls. 16 RBIs. He had a 12-game hit streak. He gets under this one. It's probably going to be foul. Langworthy ranging way over. Instead, it'll be a souvenir for a fan, 1-1.
Now, how about that for Rigsby Mosley? He's standing on second base right now, probably a piano off of his back. He was hitless in 5 straight games and was 0 for his last 14, and then he put that one off the wall. That's a very, very solid hit. You wouldn't know it based off of the way he hit the ball. And I heard the Hyannis dugout. I think they were a little extra excited for their buddy who desperately wanted a hit.
It was his first double of the year as well. DeSantolo now trying to bring him home. Nobody out here in the top of the second inning. Strickland delivers. Curveball. Inside strike. On deck is Chad McDaniel. Then the top of the order. Hyannis has looked solid so far. Falmouth's defense has helped him out a little bit, but they have an early lead here in this second matchup of the year. Outdoors and the Harbor Hawks will play 6 times this season. You play your in-division foes 6 times, and then the people in the East, teams in the East, I should say, you play 4. Check swing from DeSantolo. Late appeal down to third. He didn't go around 2-2.
That's a good curveball from Sam Strickland if he can keep it in that spot inside so that those hitters can't get extended. It was the one that hit Mitch McIntyre right in the middle of the bat because it didn't break. And if you were to throw it to righties, it'd be dangerous. But right now to lefties, it is lethal.
Middle infield playing back on the outfield grass. As the 2-2 misses low and a full count. That was Strickland's 30th pitch of the evening. 17 strikes, 13 balls. DeSantolo, 350 hitter on the summer. It's been a staple at third base for the Harbor Hawks. Hyannis wearing their blue jerseys with orange lettering and pinstripe pants. And ball 4. Down low to DeSantolo, puts runners on first and second.
Well, we know it's a tight strike zone tonight. Those were a couple of really close pitches that we've seen plenty of other umpires across the Cape call strikes. This time around, though, if it's going to miss an inch low, that's going to be a ball. So it's standard operating procedure, and Strickland's going to have to adjust. Just bring these up a little bit, bring them in a little further, and then he'll be settled in. It's not like he's missing the plate by a whole lot.
So Chad McDaniel steps in, the righty catcher from Missouri. Teammate of Connor Ash's, so he and Ash are working on the defensive side. This bunt is popped up towards Strickland, and an easy out, an absolute gift for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that's one of the worst bunt attempts I've seen in a long time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That was a tough bunt, and there's not much that you can do about it, honestly, if you're McDaniel. He got everything down. He just got a little bit under it. It was a high pitch, and those are a lot tougher to put down on the ground. He couldn't really get himself totally, in that athletic stance that he wants. Pitch stayed high, and that's exactly what the ball did.
Chad Gassman, head coach for the Harbor Hawks, wanted to move the runners over to second and third. Instead, they stay put, and there is one out for Anthony Servideo. Grounded out to second base, his first time up. Servideo and the Ole Miss Rebels made a super regional this year. He's a rising redshirt sophomore who batted .287. Strike one, a pretty pitch from Strickland. Shortstop from Jupiter, Florida. Went to Jupiter High School. This past year with Ole Miss, one of his best games was 3 hits against Texas A&M on April 26th. And there is another pitch that goes high and inside to a lefty and hits him on the inside shoulder. Bases loaded.
Strickland is shaking out the hand right now. He's looking at his index finger on his throwing hand. I don't know if he's got a little cut there that he's trying to avoid, or maybe that part of his hand is slipping. But it looks like, again, like the curveball before, it slipped right out of his hand. It's nothing, Strickland's not trying to go too far up and in. He's not trying to squeeze him. He's not looking for a punch-out pitch. It's just right from his release point. He knew that one was going too far inside, and I don't think he knows how to figure that out quite yet.
Second batter that Strickland's hit, he's also issued 2 free passes. He didn't have 1 walk in his first start. Done with a big hack on the first pitch, but he comes up empty. And how about this? Second time at the plate this summer. He worked a walk his first time up, and now he's got the bases loaded with a chance to extend the lead. Strickland back in the windup, kicks and delivers inside. Lucas Dunn and Louisville again bounced about a week ago by the Vanderbilt Commodores, who will play Game 3 tonight against Michigan to decide who wins the College World Series. Second pitch is low and inside. Smith loses it for a sec, but he gets a hold of it to prevent the runners from moving forward.
You can tell Strickland is very careful with Dunn right now. He's going to his best stuff to try to put something on the ground. A couple breaking balls low. He knows that Dunn, a very solid hitter in his own right, hit over 300 in one of the best baseball conferences, the ACC. And Strickland is really giving him his best stuff. It's just a matter of hitting the strike zone.
Dunn, another Florida boy. Grew up in Panama City Beach, went to J. Arnold High School. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in high school. He fouls back and makes the count 2-2.
Want to know why Louisville's been so good the last couple of years, going to constant trips to Omaha? Because they take guys like him right from the Sunshine State. He chose Louisville over Florida State, UF, and FGCU. 2 of those 3 are, perennial Omaha candidates in their own right. But Louisville is fantastic at recruiting out of state, and they managed to finesse Dunn.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First strikeout of the night for Strickland, and it's a big one. 2 down with the bases loaded.
I love that approach from Strickland. He throws a whole host of breaking balls to Dunn, falls behind, and then responds to the fastball on 2-2. I don't think Dunn was expecting that at all. He just kind of reared back and fired it home. It caught a lot of the plate, and luckily for Strickland was that Dunn couldn't catch up to it.
So Trevor Hauver, who reached on an error his first time up, might be the last chance that the Harbor Hawks have to score some more runs here in the second inning. Takes the first pitch outside. Ball 1. Hauver playing left tonight. He's an Arizona State Sun Devil. Batted .339 this year. 13 home runs and 50 RBIs with one of the best offensive teams in college baseball. The 1-0. Ball 2 just upstairs. I thought that was a strike.
Yeah, looked like, again, textbook says that a belt high or just above the belt that the strike zone's supposed to go up to the letters, but very few umpires call it that way these days.
Hauver, his second summer in Hyannis, batted .267 last summer, chops this one towards Troy Claunch in the Falmouth bullpen.
Trevor's a really impressive player. Like you said, those stats on one of the most dominant offenses. The only 2 guys that were ahead of him in most categories on the team for the Sun Devils, Spencer Torkelson, Hunter Bishop.
Not bad.
Yeah, they're a
couple Cape Leaguers as well.
Cape Leaguers and first-round picks next year in a heartbeat.
Hunter Bishop with the Brewster Whitecaps. Spencer Torkelson back in Chatham. The 2-1. Again fouled away. Strickland is 1 strike away from getting out of Dodge. He's got the bases loaded thanks to a leadoff double by Rigsby Mosley, a walk drawn by Gerard DeSantolo, and then a hit by pitch for the man on first in Anthony Servideo. 2-2, 2 outs. Strickland looks into Smith. Shakes him off once, and they agree. Here's the pitch. Ball just upstairs, full count.
Yeah, that's a strike. Again, it's just the way umpires call balls and strikes. It's at every single level, majors down to little league. They're very tentative to call it if it's right around the numbers on your front.
So here's the payoff pitch. Just fouled back. It was inside. Hauver didn't want to take a chance, so he swung and got it on the inside part of the bat to keep the count full.
Gotta love the fight in Strickland, though. He's fallen behind just about every single one of these hitters, save maybe Chad McDaniel, who bunted at the first pitch he saw. Otherwise, it's been a lot of first pitch balls. He even fell behind Hauver 2-0, but Strickland responding with a lot of strikes, and he's not missing the strike zone by a lot when he's throwing those balls.
Runners going. This one over towards second base. It gets past Trey Cruz. Tapping home is Rigsby Mosley, followed by Gerard DeSantolo. And it's a single that scores 2. Hyannis is up 3-0.
And speak of the devil, that's exactly what happens when you do fall behind. So that's the major reason why coaches hate when pitchers fall behind and why pitchers know that they need to throw first pitch strikes is because you immediately put yourself in a hole. He did that with Hauver. He's got nowhere to put him. He falls behind 2-0. He has to respond with a lot of pitches in the strike zone. You can't get those 0-2, 1-2 waste pitches when you've got 2-3 balls against the hitter. And Hauver, knowing that, was able to unload on a pitch that was pretty much down the middle and at the knees.
Hunter Goodman skies one on the infield back towards Trey Cruz, but Tyler Ross will take it at first. He moves over to his right and makes the catch. Full count pitch from Sam Strickland to Trevor Hauver was a 2-chopper into right field past Trey Cruz. Extends the lead for Hyannis to 3-0. We'll be back with the bottom half of the second.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Doors with an early deficit here against Hyannis. But Danny, the last time these two teams squared off here, the Commodores were down 5 twice and managed to squeak out a tie.
Yeah, they showed a lot of resilience. It was a great starting performance for Hyannis pitching, and then their bullpen came in and it all kind of fell apart. So I don't think Falmouth is going to want to wait or have to wait long enough for that to happen. I think they're going to try to get to Ash early on, but got to get base runners on first. I mean, last inning was a good sign, 3 loud outs, but he couldn't get anybody on base, and there's been a lot of long innings for Strickland on the mound. Seems like Ash has been on the mound for maybe a collective 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's only thrown 13 pitches, forced 3 flyouts in the bottom of the first inning. Now hitters 4, 5, and 6 due up for the Commodores. You hear 4, 5, and 6, you might think meat of the order, guys who have played a lot for Falmouth, as ball 1 misses high and away. But Austin Langworthy is really the only one of the 3 who's played a lot this season. Strike number 1 settles across the middle. Tyler Ross, 0 for 5 on the summer. He's only gotten 5 at-bats. He's starting at first tonight, batting 5th. And Smith, the catcher, his first start of the summer.
Just activated yesterday. It's a quick turnaround for Smith.
And how about that? They go right into the meat of the order here for a matchup against their division foes in Hyannis. The 1-1 to Langworthy. Strike 2 on the outside black.
Langworthy could really use a hit. Save the Chatham game, his first game of the summer on June 12th. He went 2 for 3 since then. He's 2 for his last 18.
The 1-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. 4 up, 4 down for Connor Ash. The first strikeout of the night for the righty.
And Langworthy's strikeout woes continue. We saw so many doors struggle with that early in the season. And for Langworthy, it's still really kind of early in the season. Showed up a couple days late with all the rainouts. It's been hard for him to find a groove. He's now struck out in 7 straight games, 7 of 8 played.
Tyler Ross, check swing. Doesn't matter. It was a strike anyways. Down in the count. Tyler Ross playing first for the second time this summer. He played first base against Wareham, and he had a couple errors at first. Again, the Commodores without a traditional first baseman, and despite the 5 errors a couple Mondays ago against Wareham, the Doors did win 8-5. Here's the 0-2 to Ross upstairs.
Yeah, talk about not getting into a groove because of the rain, but Tyler Ross not getting into a groove really anywhere because just of all the positions he plays. And now he's only hitting from the left side for just like 1 or 2 times this season because he's only got 5 at-bats and he's also a switch hitter.
Ball 2 misses low and skips in the dirt. He hit .255 at Tuscaloosa this past year. 14 hits, 7 RBIs. 4 of those 14 hits. So that's what, about 25%, a little north of that. 4 of those 14 hits were against Troy. Rigsby Mosley on that team. And 2 of them were doubles. Chopper back towards the Falmouth on deck circle, and the count stays 1-2.
I really expected him to only be a pitcher this year because last year there were a couple of guys who've gotten pitching action like Will Brennan, Austin Langworthy, Matt Wallner, and they were solely hitting. And you think that in the summertime, usually those guys come up to work on one trait.
2-2 fouled back in the same direction.
We know a couple other teams, they were coming up. You know, J.P. Gates, I can think of. He's a Miami guy playing for Wareham. He hit .350 this past year, but, you know, the Miami Hurricanes want him to develop as a pitcher. He didn't have the best pitching year, so Wareham's only using him as a pitcher. I really thought Ross was only going to be a pitcher, given that's what he mostly did this past spring.
The 2-2 from Ash to Ross. Strike 3. Beautiful slider. And Ross did not put up a fight on that strike 3 call. Second straight strikeout for Ash. 2 down here in the second.
Ash is just looking really sharp. He's looking just as good as he was against Falmouth the first time around, and as good as this Falmouth team has hit as of late, Connor Ash has been their kryptonite.
So Taylor Smith steps in, the righty catcher who will be playing his ball at Grayson County College next year. Named a freshman All-American by Perfect Game, NCBWA, Collegiate Baseball, and Rawlings. Pretty much a clean sweep in the freshman All-American category for Smith. He had an outstanding year, batted .322. Takes a big swing, but cannot connect 1-1. His best game of the year was against Notre Dame. 4 for 6, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs back in early March. Righty-righty matchup. That one just missing high and away, 2-1.
Thing I've seen from Ash that Strickland hasn't been able to do is he's accustomed to that strike zone. It's a tight strike zone like we said last half inning. Strickland was getting squeezed by it. Ash is just tucking it inside that zone that he's given. So that's making it tough for the Commodores hitters.
2-1, fastball right on the inside part of the plate. Smith standing far in that batter's box, really close to the plate. Now a 2-2 count, 2 outs. Ash has been dealing, and he continues to. Strikes out the side. Langworthy and Smith swinging, Ross looking. 6 up, 6 down for Connor Ash. He's been flawless through 2 innings, and Hyannis retains their 3-0 lead. We head to the third on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
It's been all Hyannis so far in this one. Harbor Hawks lead 3-0. Mitch McIntyre, Brooks Carlson, and Rigsby Mosley due up for their second at-bats. And Danny, you talked about it a little bit at the bottom of the second inning, but that pitch count difference has been so drastic so early. Strickland already up to 48 pitches. This one chopped over to Ross, who fields it on a backhand and takes it himself. Nice play for Tyler Ross, who's not a traditional first baseman. 1 down.
Looks like he sorted out his fielding issues. He had his first start at first base. But like you were saying, I mean, well, that's going to help with the pitch count, first of all. But Connor Ash, not only does facing the minimum help, but he's been throwing a lot of strikes. It's been a lot of first pitch strikes, has not fallen behind in too many counts. Sam Strickland, pretty much the reverse opposite. He's throwing a lot of first pitch balls. He's fallen behind 2-0, 2-1 pretty consistently.
Strike 1 comes in to Brooks Carlson. Flew out to right field. His first time up to end that first inning. Strickland delivers. I don't don't know if that's another one of those pitches. I don't know if it's a curveball or a slider because it has some up and down movement, has a little bit of side to side as well.
That's a pitch.
It is a pitch.
It's the slurve.
It's definitely a pitch. Goes to it again, but misses low.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to ask Sam, but like I think I was telling you one time when we were discussing this just between each other that some guys may have, a curveball and
1-2 is into left center field. That'll land for a base hit. DeLoach moves over and throws in, so a single.
Well, that was just a fastball right down the middle that you don't want to throw on 1-2. But like I was saying, I mean, some guys may have something that they hold like a curveball and they throw like a curveball, and it could move like a slider. It could move like a changeup. So some pitches just kind of vary in their movement for pitchers. There's no textbook, oh, that's obviously a 12-6 curveball, because a guy could say, no, that's actually my changeup and whatnot.
Right. And remember, Brooks Carlson, who just tagged Strickland for that single, is a teammate of Strickland's. The two Samford Bulldogs here on the Cape this summer. First pitch to Rigsby Mosley scoots between the legs of Taylor Smith, and he moves over to second base.
So now it's tied up at 1. Brooks Carlson got defeated in round 1 of the Bulldog Bowl. And then in round 2, Carlson gets the best of him with a base hit.
I like that. From now on, when college teammates go up against each other on the Cape, it's going to be that mascot bowl.
I like it.
Can we keep count, too?
Sure. Oh, that's
so that was
one.
Bulldog Bowl 2? Or would we go by games here?
Oh, good point.
Right.
That was Bulldog Bowl 2, I guess we'll say.
That's going to be
It's
gonna be bowl like 55 by the end of the season. Another lefty-lefty matchup. Rigsby Mosley doubled to start off the second inning and scored. Chops one hard down the first base line, but it's foul.
A lot of strong contact by these Harbor Hawk hitters against that fastball. The curveball's been looking good. It's just a matter of if Strickland can locate it. But for the fastball, oh boy, it seems like they're jumping all over it. They're seeing exactly where it's going, and he might just be catching too much plate with it.
1 down, 1 on. Brooks Carlson stands at second base. He's singled and then moved over to second on a pass ball. Beautiful pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. There's again that off speed, and Mosley now 1 for 2.
And there's the benefit of getting ahead in counts. On 1 and 2, you can throw that. On 3 and 2, you can't, because you got to throw a strike or else you're going to give up a walk. On 1 and 2, you can throw a nasty curveball in the dirt. And Mosley is going to be, he's going to be nervous. He's going to think that a pitch that's near the strike zone he's got to go after to keep himself alive. Instead, he plays himself, and Sam Strickland gets the strikeout.
Jared DeSantolo walked and scored his first time up in the second inning. He and Mosley both scored on the RBI single from Trevor Hauver. Remember, 2 outs and the bases loaded in that second inning. Strickland almost got out of the jam, but Hauver worked a full count and put the Harbor Hawks up 3. Hyannis 1-9-1 on the year in search of their second win and first against Falmouth. Second pitch is fouled into the trees, 1-1.
They haven't made too many changes to their roster either. I was going through that transactions page, and they pretty much have most of their guys for the entire season. They cut a couple of guys, didn't really add too many besides save maybe Dunn. So it's they don't got anybody coming in that can kind of save the day. It's they've got what they have.
The 1-1. Foul tipped into the mitt, 1-2. Yeah, a couple additions since the teams last played last Thursday. Cole Pletka, a pitcher for the Harbor Hawks. Lucas Dunn, definitely most notably. Anthony Servideo, also a more recent addition from Ole Miss because the Rebels made that super regional. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That off speed has been clicking. And he gets 2 more strikeouts. He's now up to 3 Ks. We're going to stay here in the booth for this half inning because here in the Cape Cod League, there's a lot of different events, organizations that are honored and sort of recognized here at these different games. And here at Gov Fuller Field, it is WCAI night, local NPR station for the Commodores. We had a representative last year come up into the booth.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, a lot of great work.
Yeah, I liked what he had to say. It was really fun getting to talk to him.
So now Katie Florio is standing by with Alicia Orsini, a representative from WCAI. Katie?
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with Alicia from WCAI. And Alicia, for those watching our live stream right now, just tell me a little bit more about what you guys do and who you cover.
So we are WCAI, the local public radio station for the Cape, the Coast, and the Islands. So we're NPR Talk. We're basically covering the community, everything from wastewater treatment to the entertaining things that happen here on the Cape, like the baseball that's happening here tonight.
Now, you mentioned to me earlier that you guys are covering the Cape League All-Star Game this year. Now, you said you don't cover a ton of sports, so what's that mean to you to be able to cover that?
Oh, it's so exciting because a lot of us are sports fans, but we don't get an opportunity to do that a lot on our channel. So this will be our 15th year, I believe, covering the All-Star Game. And of course, it's a Cape Cod tradition, and that's the kind of stuff that our audience is interested in. So we're so happy to be back again covering the All-Star Game.
Thank you so much, guys. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Katie. So they're covering the All-Star Game, Eldridge Park.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe we'll see Alicia.
I can't wait. I hope it doesn't rain like last year.
It was raining last year at the All-Star Game at White House Field. This year at Eldridge Park in Orleans. I think one of the best parks, if not the best, on the Cape.
Yeah.
And thank you so much to Katie and to Alicia for taking some time. But those are the stories, right? Like, there's so much going on here in the Cape. We sort of get bogged down because we're baseball nerds, right? In all the players and the stats.
Yeah.
But it's so wholesome. It's so many different fans and people who are all sort of melting together here.
It's a small town vibe for big time players. Yeah. That's the way I love to look at it. You've got guys, Barron Radcliffe for one, who might be a hot shot in a big city like Atlanta playing for Georgia Tech, shows up to the Cape, and he's just another cog in the small town feel that is Cape Cod, and that's one of my favorite things about the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Ball one misses away to Connor Ash. Or from Connor Ash to Barron Radcliffe. It's his first at-bat of the game. Connor Ash has been perfect. No hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He's faced the minimum. The 1-0 is low. 2-0 to Barron Radcliffe. If you haven't gotten a chance, go to our website. Go to the Commodores Corner. Recent feature written by our web reporter Maxwell Trink on Barron Radcliffe. Such a cool story about how athletic this guy has always been, how many options he's had as far as sports, and how he came to decide on baseball.
Pretty good football player.
Not bad. What was he, a 3-star recruit out of high school? I'm getting nods from Max Trink, so I know that that's right. 3-1 right down the pipe to make it 3-1, excuse me. Radcliffe batting .273 so far this summer. He's playing right field tonight. He's done a little bit of designated hitting as well. He had some strikeout woes at the beginning of the season, but recently making better contact. He takes a big hack at the high fastball, and it's a full count.
Yeah, he started his season 1 for 7 with 5 strikeouts. Right now, hasn't gotten too many at-bats with not a lot of games played, but currently 2 for his last 4, only the 1 strikeout. His biggest problem with the strikeouts, though, is when he takes massive hacks like that.
Yeah.
Throws in a lot of shoulders, a lot of arms. He kind of forgets that bat speed is the most important thing, because I think he's looking for that home run ball.
Strike 3, got him looking. Pretty slider from Ash, who fights back from a 3-0 count and strikes out Radcliffe. Now his 4th strikeout in a row.
So we know that, baseball is a game of adjustments, that if the offense is hitting you hard, as a pitcher, you got to adjust. If the pitcher is pitching you well as an offense, you got to adjust. Well, in the first inning, it looks like Connor Ash really made those adjustments. He let up a couple loud hits, a couple fastballs that he left over the plate. Now it's been early fastballs followed up when he's in fastball counts, going to breaking balls, changing up the pace, and really getting a lot of looking strikes. He's now got 4 Ks in a row.
Moretto swings at the first pitch over towards Anthony Servideo. Low throw, and the scoop is bobbled by Brooks Carlson. Steven Moretto, Mr. Reliable for the Commodores, chops one over to short and beats the throw out. The Commodores have their first runner aboard.
Hey, sometimes to break up a fantastic outing from a pitcher, you need a little bit of luck, and that is ruled as a hit. Looked like he could have had a chance to beat it out, but definitely gets the benefit of it once it gets dropped over at first base. So he gets a little bit of luck, and now Moretto can try to come around, and hopefully these Doors hitters, once they get back to the top of the lineup, can do something with a guy on base, and at the very least end this strikeout run.
So Kevin Kendall, the 9-hitter for the Doors, steps in. He's a lefty. This ball in the dirt. Nice block by Chad McDaniel behind the plate. Kendall 1 for 3 on the summer. That one hit was a double. Remember, Danny, you talked about it at the top of this broadcast, but sort of a double leadoff kind of vibe from Kendall and Cantrell. Cantrell leading off as the designated hitter tonight. Pitch down low, 2-0.
I mean, you've got a UCLA Bruin who hit in the middle of his lineup for pretty much the entire spring, showing up to the Cape, and the rest of your guys are doing so well that you're going to put him in the 9-hole. That's a pretty good spot.
Batted .258 with what was, for a large part of the year, the #1 team in the country in UCLA. Strike one on the outside, Black. 32 hits, 5 of them doubles, 13 RBIs. He's one of 3 Bruins here with the Commodores. The other 2 are pitchers, Sean Mullen, who's come in relief, and Nick Mistonee, who started Game 2 of the doubleheader against YD. The 2-1 from Ash. Inside.
This is what you need, more 3-ball counts. Bumps that pitch count up. Baron Radcliffe was able to work a 3-ball count, ends up striking out. But you get to see a little bit more of the stuff that Ash has, not just that 2 strikes coming from fastballs and then the big curveball that comes and gets you. And Kevin Kendall now with a chance to look fastball on 3-1 and see if he's got something to drive.
Moretto at first. Ball 4.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
3-2. Excuse me.
Samuel Strickland is definitely upset in the dugout. I can guarantee that.
So what looked to be maybe an outside pitch is called a strike, and now a full count to Kendall. Check on Moretto at first. I think that's a good instinct. He's probably going on this pitch. Or maybe he was. I don't know if he still will.
Yeah.
Commodores are lethal on the base paths, no question about it. Despite playing the fewest games out of any team in the Cape League, they have 17 stolen bases. That's the most on the Cape. Ball 4. This one is a no-doubter. It's low and in the dirt. So no harm, no foul. Same result, right? Runners on first and second with 1 out.
Gets one more pitch out of Connor Ash. Steven Moretto was stealing on the pitch, like you said, and Moretto doesn't seem like a huge stolen base guy. He doesn't have that blazing speed like a Hayden Cantrell does or like a Blake Dunn does. But the way that Falmouth plays the game this season, I didn't see this at all last season. I mean, the amount of times that they love running on the base paths with whoever it may be, they run seemingly with anybody. It's kind of impressive, I got to say.
So now Hayden Cantrell is up for the second time tonight. He watches a ball towards his knees. Flew out to center field on a hard hit ball that was tracked and caught by Mitch McIntyre right at the wall in right center. See if Ash has the same success against the Falmouth Commodores second time through the order. Check swing from Cantrell. It leaks past McDaniel. Throw down to second base. Not in time. Moretto and Kendall take advantage and move to second and third now with the 2-0 count.
All right, so we've got Hayden Cantrell, reigning Cape Cod Coca-Cola Player of the Week, 6 for his last 10, 8 RBIs in his last 3 games played, who rakes against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. 2018 and 2019, 350-plus average against them. Both runners in scoring position. And it's a 2-0 count with less than 2 outs. This is just, you're playing right into it. We'll see if he can capitalize.
The 2-0 from Ash, swing and a miss. Looked like off speed, maybe a changeup that died as it crossed the plate, and Cantrell was on top of it. We mentioned that speed. Maybe you didn't think that Moretto and Kendall have it on the base paths. Cantrell, Deloach, Cruz, and Langworthy, hitters 1 through 4, all have a stolen base or more on the summer. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Ash clawing back in this count.
That's a fastball count behind 2-0, and he goes back with 2 breaking balls. I'm sure Hayden's not expecting that, and now he's found himself with an even count. Can't be looking for anything. You just got to kind of lock in on fastball and react to the breaker.
Ash's fastball, 90-92, can touch 93. Here's the 2-1. Hit his inside cleat. Cantrell takes off his elbow pad and trots towards first base. Now the base is juiced for Zach Deloach.
Maybe hitting him on the foot wasn't the best thing that could have happened, because busting halfway down the line was Steven Moretto, ready to take home plate easily as it skipped away from the catcher McDaniel. But now DeLoach maybe benefits from it with 3 ducks on the pond, just has to avoid a ground ball, and he should have, ground ball or a strikeout I should say, and he should have an RBI.
Zach DeLoach was late on a fastball his first time up and popped it into left field. It's no problem for Trevor Hauver. But now he's up with 1 out. A double play would end the inning and preserve the shutout. Something into the gap could score 2, maybe 3 with Cantrell on first base. First pitch swinging is DeLoach. High fastball that he can't connect with. 0-1. Moretto reached on an infield single with 1 out. Kevin Kendall walked on 6 pitches. Hayden Cantrell hit on the right foot. Ball 1 down in the dirt. And these are the first runners that the Commodores have had all night.
Yeah, and it's got to help that you've got a couple, hit by pitches, a walk too. So Connor Ash is letting it happen himself. It seems like the second time through the order he's not getting beat. He's only, defeating himself.
DeLoach wagging that bat back and forth over his left shoulder. He watches another pitch low. 2-1. Ash, who was so strike heavy the first couple innings, has now fired 50 pitches, 27 strikes, 23 balls. 2-1, 1 out, bases juiced. Ash working quickly, delivers. High.
Perfect opportunity for DeLoach. If you're Ash, you've got to come over the middle of the plate. And with him, you never know it's going to be fastball or breaking ball. But I'm sure DeLoach is looking for a fastball. And this is a golden opportunity because one way or another, you've got an RBI. You've got a good chance at an RBI, I should say, whether he goes outside or whether he gives you something that's right in your wheelhouse.
This will earn a visit from Chad Gassman and perhaps a call to the bullpen. There are a couple of Harbor Hawks getting loose. One of them is Billy Corcoran from Pittsburgh. Gassman, the head coach of the Harbor Hawks, led the team to a second-place finish in the Western Division last year in the regular season. They were bounced in the first round by Falmouth. He's the athletic director and head baseball coach at Judson University. That's an NAIA school. 12th season at the helm in Hyannis. CCBL Coach of the Year back in 2011. Hopefully he had some words of wisdom for Connor Ash. 3-1 count to Zach DeLoach with the bases loaded. Ball 4 upstairs. Moretto trots home and taps home plate, and that is how the Commodores score the first run of this game.
You'll take it. No big deal. Falmouth very much appreciative of all the walks that they've gotten. A hit by pitch, now 2 walks, one of them coming with the bases loaded. Ash decided to rear back fire a fastball. I don't think he cared where it landed. He just wanted to fire it past DeLoach, hope he would swing, but he didn't. He's left it up high.
Trey Cruz swings at the first pitch he sees. 0-1 is the count. He flew out to center field his first time up as well. That ended the first inning. He's got the same situation. Bases loaded with 1 out. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Looked like another changeup from Ash.
And Ash just looks like a different pitcher even than he was a batter ago. I mean, a 5-pitch walk to DeLoach on pitches that were way out of the zone, and now 2 excellent pitches.
Cruz takes low. 1-2. Cruz playing at Rice University. That's where his father played. That's where his uncle played. He and his brother now at the Owls out in Texas as well. He's from the Lone Star State, growing up in Houston. Traveled all the way out to Cape Cod. Says he's never been in this part of the country before. Here's the 1-2. Connects, and it's lined over towards the dugout. Steven Moretto dodges away from it. Gives a thumbs up to the fans, as does the cameraman down at first base, Ken Fitzgerald. He gives a wave to the crowd to let him know that he's all right.
Got to give Fitzy a shout-out.
Yeah, shout-out to Falmouth Community Television. Televised, I think, 8 of our home games this year. First one was rained out, but they're in town today. Ball 2 misses way up. 2-2 is the count.
You know where Trey grew up his first 15 or so years of his life?
I don't know.
My neck of the woods, Coral Gables.
Really?
Yes. Right across the street from from the University of Miami, but still playing at his dad's alma mater.
Here's the 2-2. Check swing. He did not go around. No appeal down to third. And a full count.
Great at bat from Cruz. I mean, anytime you fall behind 0-2 and work it full is good, but these have been fantastic pitches by Ash as well. He's giving Cruz his best stuff, and somehow Trey has been able to lay off or fight it off.
Payoff pitch with the bases loaded from Ash. Takes ball 4. Now Kevin Kendall trots home and taps home plate. And the Commodores have scored 2 runs thanks to 3 walks and a hit by pitch.
So Billy Corcoran just started getting warm when Chad Gaspin made his visit out in the middle of the count against Zach DeLoach, and now he's really hurrying up, it looks like, over there, because I don't think that Ash has it in him anymore. He's a guy who only had 2 starts all spring for Mizzou. Looks like maybe fatigue is getting to him because he's just lost it.
Langworthy watches a strike. And remember, this was his first start of the summer as well. Coming into this game, he had 3 relief appearances and was nearly perfect. Strikeout to walk ratio, he had walked 5 and struck out 14. He's walked 3 this inning and hit Hayden Cantrell with the pitch. 0-2 is the count to Langworthy.
Helps when Langworthy steps up to the plate expecting a couple balls, and he throws 2 quick fastballs right by him and gets him in an 0-2 count.
Cruz was in an 0-2 count as well and worked a walk. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Drop third strike, but there's a runner at first. So he'll head back to the dugout now, 2 down.
And Austin still struggling to really get anything going on the Cape this summer. He was slow to start both his previous years with Falmouth, so it's not something that he's never encountered before, but still never an issue you want to face.
So Tyler Ross, who's 0 for 6 at the plate to start his summer, has a chance to add a couple more runs for the Commodores. Takes a big hack and can't connect. Again, Ash seems to be relying on that changeup. It's dying as it gets to the plate, and some of these Commodores hitters are way ahead of it.
Yeah, it's been really sharp, but he hasn't thrown it too often with 2 strikes, interestingly enough.
0-1 to the switch hitter from Alabama. Takes a second strike and takes a look down to Brett Becker, his third base coach, as if to say, what?
Yeah, that looks really inside. I don't know about the strike zone. It's kind of morphed, gotten a little bit bigger just in this half inning.
See what Ash goes to here. His changeup, 81 to 84, and his fastball, on the other hand, up to 93. Chopper back to Ash. He'll field it himself and loft one over towards first base. So a couple of runs for the Commodores on just 1 hit. The hit by pitch and the 3 walks helped him out. It's a 1-run ball game as we head to the 4th.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
So you know how I always screw up that PSA, that ad read? I think I figured it out. It's the Caterpillar dealer.
That's kind of,
it is a little
tongue twister.
Caterpillar dealer.
We're gonna have that memorized by
we will.
late July.
I'll be back at school and I'll just be reading that. I'll read it every night at 7:04. How about that? Regardless of if we have a game or not. Commodores and Harbor Hawks. Now a 3-2 score in favor of the away team. These two teams had an entertaining series last year. Falmouth won 4 of the 6 regular season matchups. A few of them were close games. One was the season opener out at McKeon Park.
Yeah.
Commodores won 10-4. Hayden Cantrell had a great night.
Yeah.
He had a triple and a couple RBIs. They had a couple one-run wins. They won 2-1. Did the Harbor Hawks, on a walk-off on June 22nd last year. That was Davis Wenzel.
Off of Jack Little.
I
knew it.
A couple guys who were drafted early.
And that was
Davis Wenzel on the first day, Jack Little on the second.
That was Jack's first appearance on the
was.
Cape, I remember too. And he was, the stud closer out of Stanford.
Yeah.
He was probably the best closer I think he finished as like a second place for stopper of the year or something like that in 2018. And his first appearance gave up the blown save, unfortunately.
Ball 1 comes in to Chad McDaniel, who'll start off this inning. I still remember, though, watching that game. I mean, the amount of scouts that were there.
Yeah.
And his fastball was just amazing. The run it had on it, it would move. Davis Wenzel, just a very good hitter. He was the only Harbor Hawk drafted on day 1 of the MLB draft this year. A Baylor Bear. This one is skied foul. Chad McDaniel had a bunt attempt his first time up, and it was a subpar one at best, back towards Sam Strickland, who's now out for his 4th full inning of work. He delivers a strike to even the count at 2-2.
And that low fastball inside like that was not being called at all in the first inning, so the strike zone has widened quite a bit.
Off speed, over towards third. And a beautiful play by Tim Tawa. Defensive substitution for Steven Moretto. Lets his presence be known here and makes the first out of the 4th inning.
Yeah, how about that? Coming in completely rusty, didn't get any chances. Probably kind of maybe took I.O. lackadaisically too, expecting to be on the bench most of the day, and he comes right in and shows off the glove with a nice running throw.
Anthony Servideo, 0 for 1 on the day, grounded out to second and was hit by a pitch. He's up with 1 out here in the 4th. Strickland settling in. He gave up 1 run in the first that was unearned, 2 runs in the second, 0 runs in the third. Now up to 67 pitches, 40 for strikes, 27 for balls. That's the 28th ball of the night, and it makes for a 2-0 count to the leadoff man.
And Strickland with a lot of innings pitched this past spring. This might be one of his final outings as a Commodore, just out of a guess. So they might ride him a little bit longer if he continues to get outs.
2 chopper over towards Tyler Ross, who fields it himself. Second solid play Ross has made at first base, and now 2 down.
So 3rd time through the Hyannis order, it's looking like Strickland is starting to figure things out. You always know that the first time through the order, typically pitchers do well. Second time is when the opposing team starts to, figure things out and are able to capitalize, but it's been the reverse here for Strickland.
Yeah, I was going to mention that last inning, but it was still a little early, and he did give up that hit to Brooks Carlson as the off-speed misses low. But Chris Gonzalez, who came up here and joined us in the booth last game, looked great. Both times out when he's been the starter for the Commodores. Looked great the first time through the order, but then the second time, hitters make an adjustment and had smacked him around. That was not just Gonzalez, as this one is into center field. And the first 1-2-3 inning of the night for Sam Strickland comes at a good time. So he clearly has settled in. And the second time he has faced the Hyannis order, and the 3rd time for Servideo and Dunn, he has looked sharp. 3-2 as we head back to the Falmouth Bats in the bottom of the 4th.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Bottom 4, and Chad Gassman's going to stick with Connor Ash on the bump for the Harbor Hawks. Danny, he ran into some trouble in the third inning, probably the most trouble he's run into all summer.
And pretty much all of it was his own doing. I mean, besides the Steven Moretto single, which didn't even leave the infield, it was 3 walks, a hit by pitch, getting into a lot of counts that were favorable towards hitters. He was lucky he got out of it the way he did. I mean, there were bases loaded and only 1 out with 2 runs across, and then he got 2 quick outs, a strikeout followed by an easy ground out. But with some of those counts, getting behind guys 3-1 or 2-0 could have been a lot more damage, could have been some long doubles.
Here's a high, deep drive into left field. See you later, and welcome to the Cape, Taylor Smith. Solo shot down the left field line ties this ball game 3-3.
Well, how about that? So all of last inning it was Ash's fault, but this time Taylor Smith steps in and says, "Nuh-uh, I should have come up with the bases loaded." Absolutely demolishing that baseball and depositing it onto Dillingham way out into left field. I heard a fan yell out, "Welcome to Falmouth." That's a pretty good welcome.
All of a sudden, we got a tie ball game. Doors added 2 in the bottom of the third, and then a moonshot from Smith, who had 16 home runs his freshman year at Incarnate Word, a large reason that he was a freshman All-American. He showed off that power here. Radcliffe will try to do the same. It's a 1-0 count. Hard chopper down the first base line makes it 0-2.
And this is the fatigue I was talking about. The fact that Ash is traditionally a reliever, I think that the later he gets into counts, the later he gets into, the game, and as he throws more pitches, he's just starting to leave a lot more pitches over the plate and losing his velocity a little bit.
It was only the second hit of the night for the Commodores as he punches out Baron Radcliffe looking for the second time. Now 6th K of the night for Ash, and it's all been the middle of the order. Hitters 4 through 7 are a combined 1 for 8 with 6 strikeouts, and the 1 hit was Smith's home run.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember back to Game 2 against Yarmouth Dennis was 4 through 6 in the order. 3 times they got up, and they were 1, 2, 3 innings every single time. 4 led off every inning, 6 ended every single inning. So that 4 through 6 spot in the lineup has kind of been, leaving a lot to
be desired.
Yeah,
sure.
a lot to be desired, except for maybe Taylor Smith.
Tim Tawa comes in for Steven Moretto. You saw him make the play at third base in the top half of this inning. 0-2 count now to the rising junior at Stanford University, who hit .253 this past year with the Cardinal. Righty-righty matchup. Ash looking for his 7th punch-out, but Tawa didn't bite. And yeah, I got to agree with you, Danny. Last year at this time, we saw a lot more traditional power. You saw traditional cleanup guys hitting 4, 5, and 6. And they were obvious, right? Kyle Stowers, Davis Sims, guys who had plenty of extra base hits.
Yeah, when you see a 6'4" guy who plays for Stanford hit a home run, you're not very much surprised.
But this year, as you said, hitters 4, 5, and 6 have been fluid, and really it's been the leadoff part of the order, hitters 1 through 3, that has done most of the hitting for Falmouth. Hayden Cantrell, Trey Cruz, Zach DeLoach, who's now up to the 2 spot.
And the home runs have been by Hayden Cantrell, who didn't hit any last summer.
Yep.
Trey Cruz, like you mentioned, and then Taylor Smith, who was activated a day ago.
Yeah. 3-2 count now to Tawa. He's choking up on the bat. He moves out of the way of that inside pitch and takes his base. Would have hit him if he stayed put. Gets to first nonetheless. Now a runner aboard with 1 out.
Boy, that's now the second 0-2 count that has gone 3-2 and become a walk. So that's a major bugaboo that Ash is going to have to talk about with his pitching coach after this outing, is how do you finally put down those hitters? Instead, he's throwing 4 straight balls, which is maybe the worst-case scenario.
Kevin Kendall swings at the first pitch. It's in foul territory. DeSantolo is moving over towards the Hyannis bullpen, but can't get there. Kevin Kendall walked and came around to score in the 3rd inning. That was when the Commodores scored 2 on just 1 hit because of the 3 walks and the hit by pitch. Got him at first base. What a pickoff move from Connor Ash, and he erases the walk. Tawa pleading his case to the first base umpire, Dave Perry, but he's going to have to head back to the dugout nonetheless. 2 down.
I mean, from our vantage point, he looked out by a mile. Obviously, those calls, and we've seen it in college baseball as they've introduced replay review, those calls are more often than not 50-50, and a lot of times guys, even by getting beat by the ball, can slide around it. But it just looked like Tawa was way off the bag, taking way too huge of a lead.
Kendall watches a ball outside 1-1. Danny, you talked about it just a moment ago about the home runs for Falmouth. Coming into the night, they had only 4 long bombs on the year, which was 8th on the Cape. But this has a shot. It's into deep right field, but it's a little bit too high. Camping under it is Rigsby Mosley, who makes the catch. Hard piece of contact for Kevin Kendall, but it was skied out into right field. Taylor Smith hits a home run in his 2nd bat of his Cape League season. It's 3-3 as we head to the 5th.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Brand new ball game here in the 5th inning as we have a new pitcher for the Commodores and Sam Weatherly, and a tie ball game at 3-3. So it's going to be the best of the last 5 innings, Danny, with Weatherly on the bump.
Yeah, Sam Weatherly, early exit for Sam Strickland, who had a lot of pitches. Sam Weatherly coming on. He's been pretty solid so far, has not allowed a run yet on the Cape. 2 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts for the rising junior from Clemson University. He's got some good breaking stuff from that left hand. Coming off of a sophomore campaign where he went 2-0, 3.38 ERA. Biggest for him was the strikeout number at 46 over just under 30 innings pitched, an opposing average of 175. Easily one of the most reliable pitchers from the Clemson bullpen, and you got to expect that he's going to be pitching a lot for Falmouth.
A rising junior with the Tigers, who has made 1 appearance so far this year. It was 2 innings of relief in a 10-2 loss against Bourne. But none of those runs were because of Weatherly. He only allowed 1 run, and it was unearned. First pitch swinging is Trevor Hover. It's fouled away. We remind you to follow our social media, at Fal Commodores on Twitter, at Fal Commodores on Instagram. You're already on our YouTube page, but feel free to share it with family and friends. Tell them to subscribe as the 0-1 misses outside. And what else am I missing? Facebook?
Instagram?
I already said Instagram. Go to our Facebook. Instagram's good. And then the Commodores Corner, obviously, the blog on our website. We do tweet and post a lot of those articles, but check it out yourself. A lot of great reporting by our web reporter, Maxwell Trink. 2-1 now from Weatherly to Hauver. Hauver had a 2 RBI single in the second inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Talk about clutch hitting from the 3-hitter, who added a couple more RBIs, now up to 4 on the summer. Breaking ball from Weatherly misses up, 3-1.
Very easily could have been an 0-2 count. That first ball that was called looked like it painted the knees. It was right down the middle. It looked like a great pitch. Somehow it was called a ball. And after that, Weatherly responds with 2 pitches that are way out of the zone.
The 3-1. Swung on and fouled out of play. You know how sometimes when like a kicker will miss like a 35-yard field goal and a bunch of people will be tweeting like, oh, that's horrible, how could you do that? Mm-hmm. And then they have those things where they set up like having that guy try to kick a 35-yard field goal.
Right.
You know where I'm going with this? Ball 4 misses upstairs. I kind of want to do that with me and umpiring. You know what I mean? Because like I am very critical of umpires sometimes, but I have never tried, and I think it would be much harder than I think.
I've umpired Little League, if that gets me anywhere.
That's better than me.
But I mean, hey, you know what? They are humans, so you can't give too much blame. But when you see a strike zone that kind of fluctuates, is when it gets frustrating.
Hard hit ball past the glove of Kevin Kendall, and a stinging single into left field puts 2 runners on with nobody out.
So Weatherly right off the bat getting hit pretty well with that hard-struck ball after allowing a walk to Hauver. Walks, more often than not, going to come around to bite you, and right now that walk recipient is standing on second base. It's going to be ground ball mentality for Weatherly. He's got to get through McIntyre. Pretty good hitter in his own right.
Weatherly pitching from the stretch in a jam here early in the 5th inning. Hauver reached on a walk. Goodman singled on the first pitch that he saw. Showing bunt is McIntyre. He pulls back and takes a strike.
McIntyre has been fantastic as of recently. He's got hits in 4 of his last 5, but most telling for him is that he had 5 straight games to start the summer with strikeouts. In the last couple of games, he's got 3 straight games with no strikeouts. He's starting to put a lot more contact on the baseball, and he's not going down so easily anymore. So it looks like he's turning a corner, and he's looking to put the Harbor Hawks ahead again.
Ball 1 misses low and away. And how about this? McIntyre's a temporary player for Hyannis, but he's still stuck around till late June, which is a good sign if you were originally signed as a temp, because College World Series just about over. Only 2 teams left, and they play tonight.
More than half those guys won't be coming to the Cape.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if they're pitchers.
Mitch McIntyre batting .214 on the summer, entering today. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did, says home plate umpire Mike Beal. It's 1-2.
He's another two-way player who's pitched quite a bit. He's now got 3 appearances on the mound, also hitting. And like I said with Tyler Ross, it's tough for those guys in such a short season to get a groove in either department.
The 1-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. That's a big K for Sam Weatherly. 1 down.
Yeah, that's massive because even a ground ball, unless you were to turn a triple play, which probably wouldn't happen, even a ground ball, you've still got most likely a guy on third base or somebody else, and you've still got 1 more out to get. But now with a ground ball, you can get yourself out of the inning. And Weatherly also with that strikeout regains a little bit of confidence.
So now Brooks Carlson, who went hitless in Bulldog Bowl 1 and with a single in Bulldog Bowl 2, is now up against a new pitcher in Sam Weatherly. Over to third, Tawa to Cruz to Ross. Inning over. Leadoff walk to Hauver, followed by a single to Goodman, all for naught. A big strikeout from Weatherly and a 5-4-3 double play. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. We're tied up at 3.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
We're coming back a little early here at Gov Fuller Field. Danny looking at the road ahead. We won't talk about July yet because that's going to be a slog, but walk us through the end of June and the start of next month.
End of June. Well, there's tonight, Hyannis, 3-3 ball game. Pretty good ball game. Should be here. Tomorrow, the Fenway Workout Day. That is one that every player and intern looks forward to, circles it on their calendar in the preseason. Everybody gets to go out to Fenway Park in Boston. The players have a workout where they're in front of scouts. They're taking hacks. They're throwing. They're sprinting. They're doing all that jazz like they would at, say, a combine for the NFL. This year it's coming a lot earlier, so no games at all across the Cape tomorrow, the 27th. And then the slog commences. YD on Friday, that's on the road, then at Bourne on Saturday, and then 3 straight home games, a series, if you will, against 3 Eastern teams. The 3 furthest East teams you can get, Chatham, Orleans, and Brewster, and that starts 31 games in 31 days.
Yeah, because if you go towards the end of June, right, it's 33 and 33 too.
Oh,
because you got the whole month of July,
exactly,
and then you got those last three days in June as well. There's one day where the Commodores are not scheduled to have a game. It's July 21st, and that's the All-Star game in Orleans. But they make up for it on the 19th, a couple days earlier, against Wareham. Because of our rainout last week, we will go to Spillane and play a doubleheader on that Friday.
Kind of nice. Only one round of gas, and you get to play 2 games.
And one less trip to Spillane. Ball number 1 misses up to Hayden Cantrell. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Only 14 innings on the gravel and not 18.
We do have a new pitcher for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, as Hayden Cantrell stings one into center field. He has his first hit of the night. The new pitcher is Billy Corcoran from Pittsburgh. 3.80 ERA with the Panthers this past year. He's a rising sophomore. And he had the second most starts on the team. He was a starter for Pitt. And the person who had the most starts for Pittsburgh was a 2018 Chatham Angler in Dan Hammer.
Yeah, Billy Corcoran probably leading the not a very highly touted freshman recruiting class for Pittsburgh. They're a team that is rebuilding right now, right? Had a first-year head coach this past year with Mike Bell. But Billy Corcoran in that recruiting class, he was the number 1 guy. He was drafted in the 36th round out of high school by the Texas Rangers in 2018. Had a sub-4 ERA despite dropping 6 games. He only went 2-6, but had a 3.80 ERA. Just goes to show he's a very good pitcher on a team that is struggling.
Check back down to first. We saw a runner thrown out at first last inning in Tim Tawa. Chad McDaniel tried to get Hayden Cantrell sleeping, but he slides back in safely. Hayden Cantrell, 2 for 3 on the year in stolen bases. And remember, the Commodores, despite playing the fewest games out of any team in the league, have the most stolen bases at 17. Team leader in stolen bases is Blake Dunn. He's not in the lineup tonight. The 1-1 to Deloach. Looks like a curveball that stayed high. Zach Deloach 0 for 1 today. Flew out to left in the first, walked in the third. He wasn't the only Commodore to reach base on a walk in the third inning. Commodores scored 2 because of those 3 walks from Connor Ash. Another check down to first, and again, Hayden Cantrell is safe. And remember, Connor Ash, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, gets his first earned runs tabbed to his line of the summer with 3, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Cantrell's going. McDaniel with a nice throw to second base. Tag not in time. Head first slide from Hayden Cantrell, his 3rd swipe bag of the year.
It's the most blatantly obvious secret that that Falmouth is showing, and yet still nobody can respond to it. I mean, Hayden is picked. They attempt to pick him off 2 times back to back, and he's taking a huge lead. He's very much showing that he's at the very least, tempting a steal. And then he takes off, and they still can't get him. I mean, good jumps, whether it's pitchers unable to hold these runners on or whether they're exploiting arms that are, leave a lot to be desired behind home plate. Wonder what it is, but Falmouth continues to be successful.
Ball low. McDaniel keeps it in front of him. And that would have saved Hayden Cantrell moving over to third base. Billy Corcoran, a tall, lanky pitcher. Got a Chris Sale type frame, except he's a righty. Stands at 6'7", 190. Zach DeLoach with a full count. Couple checks back to Cantrell and delivers. Strike 3, got him looking. DeLoach goes down by way of the K for the first time tonight, and it's now the 7th strikeout of the night for Falmouth.
And I think that Zach just trying to kind of sneak his way onto first base with a walk. He was able to do it his last time up. Got a 3-2 count. I think he was expecting that pitch, kind of borderline, hoping that it would be called a ball. But it's one when it's that close, you got to swing.
Trey Cruz also 0 for 1 today with a flyout and a walk. Stands in as a lefty for his third AB. As Katie Florio mentioned the last game that we had against YD, she talked to him about his switch hitting abilities, said he's comfortable from both sides of the plate. Hit his 1 home run of the summer as a righty. Here's the 0-1. Strike. On deck, Austin Langworthy, who's 0 for 2, as is Tyler Ross behind him. Doors and Harbor Hawks tied up at 3 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Sun beginning to set. You can see those streaks of sunlight painting the infield and outfield. Cantrell dancing back and forth towards third base. This one skied past the Hyannis bullpen and towards the houses next door.
Have you ever seen this many teams? I mean, even at the major league level with this many switch hitters in a lineup, it's insane. It's a skill that so many baseball teams want, MLB teams want, and so few guys have these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fact that you usually have Hayden Cantrell and Trey Cruz hitting 1 and 2, and they're both switch hitters is just lethal.
Yeah.
Because last year, Hayden Cantrell as a switch hitter at the leadoff spot was lethal enough in and of itself. Now you add another guy who's just as fast, has just as much power, batting at a similar clip. I mean, Cantrell and Cruz, these two switch hitters we keep talking about, they're batting .323 and .370 respectively heading into the night.
And they've got, 4 out of the 5 home runs that the Doors have hit.
Yep.
Ton of the RBIs.
Play middle infield together, hang out a ton.
Yeah. They're kind of like two peas in a pod. It's like they should have been playing together all their careers.
That's how it feels. It really does. It really is how it feels.
But
2-2 count.
I mean, at the college level, it's so rare to find switch hitters, and the fact that the Doors have 3 in this lineup alone is definitely a huge benefit.
2-2 count. Cruz protects and chops it over towards the bullpen, which is now empty. Got to think they're going to ride Weatherly for a couple of innings after the resiliency he showed in the top half of the 5th. Mike Beal gets some more balls from the bat boy. A beautiful crowd here on hand on a beautiful night.
It's only a Wednesday, right?
Yeah. We got a few hundred in the stands. I'm starting to notice this is when the vacation season really picks up on the Cape, is late June, because you got 4th of July next week. And this is when the weekends and the weeks get busy. Traffic gets worse.
Mm-hmm. I made a nice new discovery today on my way to the ballpark.
What's that?
Tired of getting stuck in the T-ticket highway traffic, so I kind of circumvented around it.
Some back roads?
Yeah, some back roads. I'm starting to discover some more stuff. But, yeah, you're right. This is definitely, obviously, vacation season, because for a Wednesday night, that's a great crowd.
The 2-2. Lifted into left field. Hauber has a read on it and makes the catch. 2 down.
Not altogether a terrible at-bat for Trey Cruz because, I mean, he was able to work a lot of pitches. He got a 2-2 count. He was able to foul a few off, and still pretty good for your teammates going up against a pitcher that they haven't seen yet to be able to see some of his stuff and be able to tell them, yeah, this is what the curve looks like. This is what the fastball has.
Well, Austin Langworthy could use some of that advice as well. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, both of them swinging, and both at-bats lasting no more than 4 pitches. Corcoran delivers, and this one chopped over towards second base. Lucas Dunn makes his first deep defensive putout for the Harbor Hawks, and the leadoff single from Hayden Cantrell ends with him being stranded at second base. DeLoach, Cruz, and Langworthy go down in order. We head to the 6th, 3-3. As we actually will stay here. Why not? And we are going to talk more about Hayden Cantrell, Offensive Player of the Week for the Cape Cod League. He has been so outstanding, Danny, at that leadoff spot, DHing tonight.
Yeah, he's got like cleanup guy numbers. I mean, almost a dozen RBIs, 3 home runs, hitting over 300, and he's got all the stolen bases as well.
Well, Katie Florio is sidelined with a hit on Hayden Cantrell. Katie, what you got?
Thanks, guys. And Hayden Cantrell has quickly turned into the face of this team. He's always talking, always bringing energy, not to mention he's a returner. He played for Falmouth last season. And so before the game today, I asked him how he would describe his leadership style. And he said it's all about having fun. He loves talking up his teammates. He loves being involved in every pitch. And, guys, I would say his success is showing. Was named Cape League Player of the Week this week and has certainly had a fantastic season so far.
Thanks a lot, Katie. And that's one thing I notice about Hayden Cantrell is just he's always smiling. He's always having fun, even on his worst nights at the plate.
Yeah, and that's something I talked about him early in the season. On opening day, I remember the first practice of the season, a couple days before opening day, all these guys are walking in, and who's at the front of the pack, leading the way with a swagger to his step? Is Hayden Cantrell, the only guy with door stuff from the year before. Yeah. I asked him a similar thing that Katie said, and I also talked to him about how do you balance that, the teams where you've got Louisiana Lafayette and they're your number 1 team, and then you've got the Falmouth Commodores who, you're a Commodore not even half the year. And he said, you know what, I think of the Commodores as my other team. I really look at them on equal planes, and that's really hard to find across summer baseball in whatever league you're in. Even in the Cape League, most guys are playing for themselves. Most guys are playing to impress the scouts, and if they're here for 3 weeks but hit 300, they're going to be content. Hayden Cantrell wants to be here all summer because he loves it here.
And I think that's something, Danny, that comes from the top down. I think it's the culture that the Cape Cod League has in general, but I think there are a few teams where people are maybe a little bit more sad to leave at the end of the summer, and Falmouth is definitely one of them.
Yeah, that's what we found last year.
Absolutely, as ball number 1 comes in to Rigsby Mosley. Chopper over towards Ross at first, but it's a foul ball. Nice call by Dave Perry at the first base umpiring spot, because I think it all starts with Jeff Trundy, right? Because you have a guy who's in his 21st season, and if you talk to him for more than 30 seconds, you realize he's just so genuine, happy to be here for literally everyone except himself.
Yeah.
Loves his coaches, loves his players, and he really fosters that attitude and community within the team. Nice off speed from Weatherly, but it misses low.
Yeah, wins are the last thing on his mind. He's always about player development. He refers to these players as, he's borrowing them from other coaches.
2-1 is tagged into left, moving over as Langworthy. He makes the catch. And then at the end of the year, I mean, we're only in late June right now. This conversation will happen more in early August, hopefully August 10th or 13th if the Commodores make it to the championship series. But these guys, a lot of them are very sad to leave. Mitch Miller is one who I remember from last year, a transfer from Clemson, who West Texas A&M, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
that he transferred to, and he said that he rediscovered his love for baseball because of Jeff Trundy and the Falmouth Commodores.
That gives you chills.
Yeah, no, I'm getting them right now. I'm not even kidding.
And then, there's a ton of summer ball leagues out there, a ton where you don't get a lot of exposure and you're away from home, you're away from your teammates that you're used to. And you hear a lot of college baseball players complain about it.
Yeah.
And for whatever you want to make of that, I mean, it's, you can say it's spoiled, you can say that they're right or wrong, but to have a guy who says that about the Commodores because of the culture there and all that. I mean, I remember seeing Scott Politz, who pitched in the final game where Falmouth got knocked out. It was his second year as a door, and he just went back into the dugout and stood there like a game was going on, kind of just taking it all in. And he spent, 40-some-odd games here.
The 1-2 is hit into a similar spot in left field. This one will drop for a base hit. DeSantolo has his first hit of the night and moves to 1 for 2. Harbor Hawks have one aboard with one out.
Yeah, DeSantolo, he gave Falmouth a lot of trouble their first time around. He was one of those reasons why Hyannis was able to put up 9 runs in that ball game, and already he's off to a pretty good start here. Despite the strikeout, he came around to score a run in the second. That was off of a walk. Now he's got a well-struck hit. So DeSantolo is definitely a guy that Falmouth has to keep their eye on, or else he's going to do some more damage like he did that first time around when he went 3 for 4.
Chad McDaniel takes a strike. He is 0 for 2 on the day. 167 average on the summer coming into this evening. And he's struggled at the plate. Tried to lay down a bunt, but popped it back to Sam Strickland and then grounded out to Steven Moretto. Tim Tawa at third base. Swing and a miss, strike 2. That's some high heat from Weatherly that looks good out of the hand.
Yeah, haven't seen a fastball move like that from Weatherly really all season, but that had a lot of jump to it. And McDaniel went up and chased it. Probably would have been ball 1, but sometimes guys' eyes get a little too big on high pitches like that.
This one is hit on the leg of McDaniel. He moves to first base. So 2 on and 1 out after a leadoff flyout by Mosley. Harbor Hawks get a couple base runners here in the 6th.
Yeah, way less than ideal for Weatherly. Not only do you get ahead 0-2, but this is a pretty good breaking ball, and it broke too much at the end. That hit McDaniel on the back leg. That's how much action it had on the way tail end of it. You want some of that action earlier on.
So Anthony Servideo has a great opportunity to get his first hit of the ball game with a couple runners aboard. Strike 1 from Weatherly to Smith, who's done a good job catching behind the plate.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're a catcher, no news is good news, right? You only get noticed if you're letting balls by you. But he has been solid, partially because of his pitchers as well. Strike 2.
Yeah, there really haven't been any pitches that he's had to go down and block. Unlike McDaniel, who on the other end of things, they're for 4 or 5, where if he lets them get past him, it could be much more than a 3-3 game right now.
Lefty-lefty matchup. Weatherly exhales, lifts his right leg and delivers, and a nice stop by Smith again. So Smith and Claunch are the 2 catchers for the Commodores now, and I think Jeff Trundy will probably ride them to August if he can. We saw a couple others here in town. Michael Turner was originally scheduled to be a permanent player, left early, catcher from Kent State. Temporary player Sean Harrington was released after a couple of weeks. Here's a soft ground ball over towards short, and it's cut off by Tim Tawa and loads the bases. Tim Tawa can't get a hold of it. It was such a softly hit ground ball that the third baseman tried to come and cut it off. It's ruled an E5. Now the Harbor Hawks have 3 on with 1 out.
And that was probably Kendall's ball. I mean, you probably don't turn 2 if you let the shortstop Kendall take it himself, but you at least get 1 out, and you've got 1 more out to go. I think Tawa was trying to play a little too much hero ball. He knew that that's the best angle you can get to turn a double play, but the ball hit that slowly, and the leadoff hitter getting it off the bat, you know he's got speed. Just not something that you would want to have back right after you do it. You realize that you messed up.
So Lucas Dunn is up with the bases loaded for the 2nd time tonight. He was up with the bases loaded and 1 out in the 2nd inning, Danny, but he struck out after working a full count on Sam Strickland.
Yeah, that was a huge strikeout. It was followed up by a Trevor Hopper single that plated 2, so it wasn't the biggest, strikeout in the book, but it was still huge.
Perhaps saved a run and was able to get Strickland out of the inning a little bit earlier than he might have otherwise. Dunn 0 for 2. He walked and scored in the 1st inning, also had a stolen base, but again, just activated today, looking for his first hit. Plays his college ball with the Louisville Cardinals. Here's the 1-1. Holding up is Dunn. Laid appeal down to first, but he did not go around.
Great breaking ball by Weatherly. Again, that curveball is so close to hitting the spot. It hit Chad McDaniel on the back leg. Like I said at the time, had too much late break. This time around, he had just the right amount, but Dunn was not fishing. That's a great 2-strike pitch if he wants to go back to it, though.
The 2-1. Fouled back into the screen, 2-2. Lucas Dunn, listed as an infielder and outfielder on the Louisville roster. Playing second base tonight. Danny, you mentioned played in the outfield a lot down in Kentucky. And he's been above 300 his whole career with the Cardinals. Got less at-bats his freshman year, but still hit .303 with 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Got a big chance here. 2-2. Fouled away past the fans toward the police station behind us.
Yeah, something that Lucas Dunn does so well is exactly that. 2 strikes. He is so hard to put away, and he's not a big strikeout guy either. This past season, only 34 strikeouts, and that's over 56 games played. Doesn't walk a lot either, 29, so he's a guy who puts it into play. It's going to be an interesting bout right here against Weatherly.
2-2, bases loaded. Up the middle for a base hit. DeSantolo comes in to score. McDaniel will stop at third. Hyannis regains the lead. It's 4-3.
Again, Lucas Dunn doing what he does best, and that's make contact. He gets a single, his first hit on the Cape coming in his 4th plate appearance, and it was a beauty. Looked like an off-speed pitch that hung over the outside of the plate. The outside part was what Weatherly was focusing on the most. We saw a lot of foul balls that Dunn couldn't really come around on coming over the outside corner. That one a little bit slower. He's able to get the hands to it much quicker, lines it up perfectly to get an RBI hit right back up the middle. And now things don't get any easier because now it's Trevor Hauver in the heart of the order.
Hauver's reached base all 3 times tonight. Once on an error, once on a single, once on a walk. He's only made it to second base, though. He's been left stranded a couple of times. And the base is still loaded. Weatherly still with a jam here in the 6th. Hyannis wants more than 1. Lefty-lefty matchup. Ball low.
Weatherly knows that it's a tougher part of the lineup, and he's trying to be a little too cute with these pitches, but now 2-0 count, still less than 2 outs, nowhere to put Hauver. You're going to have to give him something to hit. You just got to hope that your stuff is better than his bat.
Weatherly spent last summer out in Kalamazoo in the Northwoods League, and he struggled. 7.71 ERA and 0-2 record in 18 2/3 innings pitched. Trying to get out of Dodge here. Ball 3 just inside. Smith trying his best to frame these close pitches, but he can't quite do it, so he comes out to talk to Weatherly.
Yeah, I saw that same exact pitch punch out. Was it Tyler Ross or Kevin Kendall? Can't remember who, but it was a lefty, same exact spot. It was a punch out. This time it's called a ball, and now Weatherly has really dug himself a hole.
Weatherly drafted out of high school in the 27th round. That was back in 2017, picked by the Blue Jays. Comes from a baseball family. His dad played at Central Michigan. So he was out in his home neck of the woods growing up in Howell in the Northwoods League last year. But he issues a 4-pitch walk to Hauver. Oh, jeez. I am just not keeping up with Mike Beal behind the plate. It's
Yeah,
3-1.
I don't blame you. That was a ball. That was just outside.
And it's the posture too. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses up here, but it looks like that was a ball 4 call from Beal. It's 3-1. This is a high deep drive down the right field line. Will it stay fair? Yes, it will. A grand salami from Trevor Hauver. And how about that? Hyannis adds 4. They are up 8-3.
Well, now Weatherly wishes he threw ball 4 just then, because Trevor Hauver makes him pay on the very next pitch. Again, that's what happens when you fall behind. Get behind 2-0, get behind 3-0, nowhere to put a guy with the bases loaded, and he ends up hanging a pitch right over the heart of the plate. Trevor Hauver, who we mentioned, one of the best hitters on Arizona State, which is one of the best hitting teams in the NCAA, and he's going to make you pay every single time you put a ball there, and twice on Sunday, this time for 4 ribbies, and Hyannis has a huge lead, a team that really struggles to hit the baseball, but hey, they're doing it in this ball game, and they're getting some help as well from a couple of walks and hit by pitches.
And Danny, how about the night that Trevor Hauver has had? He came into the night batting .226 with a double and 2 RBIs. That's pretty good for a Cape League stat line. But he comes into tonight. He's got a home run, a single, reached on an error, and now 6 RBIs. 6 of the 8 runs scored by Hyannis are courtesy of Trevor Hauver.
Yeah, he's the guy that they need to get to catch fire. They've got a team batting average of .215, and like you mentioned, his average of .225. Better than the team, but if he can get hot, then you are golden, because he's going to be a solid spot in the middle of your lineup. You know that the rest of them are going to start hitting as well. And Hauver is that central cog. He's the only returning permanent Hyannis Harbor Hawk from 2018. So you know that they bring him back expecting a little from him. The season he had over in Tempe with Arizona State, they're expecting a little bit of that as well. And looks like he's starting to bring that back.
So Weatherly is on the hook right now for the loss. Pitched just an inning and a third. And did not have his best stuff today. Gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned, a walk, and 7 strikeouts.
7?
Yeah.
For Weatherly?
For Weatherly. Yeah. What did I say?
7 strikeouts? I thought I heard 7 strikeouts. My bad.
No, you're good. Weatherly comes in relief, on the hook for the loss. 1 1/3 innings pitched. Gives up 4 earned runs, a walk, and 1 strikeout. So now they go to Thomas Gerard in the bullpen. And this is a guy, Danny, I am very excited to watch. At a 2.23 ERA at Duke. Somehow a 1-5 record. 46 1/3 innings pitched. Strikeout to walk ratio outstanding. 18 walks, 61 strikeouts. And he's got some good stuff from everything I've heard.
Yeah, he had about as good of a season as you can as a pitcher in, Division I ACC baseball. Like you said, a 2.15 ERA, pretty much unheard of. And he's found some struggles late in the season. In the postseason, he ran himself into some trouble in regional and in the ACC tournament. But otherwise, he was excellent. Like you said, those strikeout numbers are just incredible. Last year, he was out also in New England with the Mystic Schooners in the NECBL. He was an all-star there as well, so he's pretty much been excellent everywhere he's gone.
Thomas Gerard toes the rubber for the first time this summer. Righty stands at 5'11", 180. First pitch strike to Hunter Goodman. Commodores need to put a cap on the Hyannis bats, and quick. They now have a 5-run deficit here in the top of the 6th inning. Tough outing for Weatherly, and really the difference in the game, the grand slam from Trevor Hauver. Change up the dies, but swinging is Hunter Goodman. He's down 0-2.
Hey, 5-run lead isn't insurmountable. Falmouth showed that twice against
True.
Hyannis the first time around.
Harbor Hawks looking for their second win of the summer. It would be their first against Falmouth. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Strike 3. It was dropped by Smith. He slaps him on the back, and 2 down.
All right, well, Thomas Gerard looking sharp.
Not bad.
Right out of the gate, he's on fire. Maybe they should have gone to Gerard a little bit earlier when their bases were still loaded.
So Mitch McIntyre steps up. Bases clear for Hyannis. They've added 5 here in the 6th inning. DeSantelo started things off with a 1-out single. Chad McDaniel walked. Servideo reached on an error. Dunn singled. And then Trevor Hauver brought him all home with a grand slam over the right field fence. Strike 1 to McIntyre. 4 pitches and 4 strikes for the righty from Duke. Make it 5 pitches and 5 strikes.
Just so much movement on everything he has.
Last summer, played with the Mystic Schooners. As you mentioned, Danny, a 1.13 ERA and a 4-2 record in the NECBL. Here's the 0-2 with 2 outs. Foul tipped, just getting a piece of it was McIntyre.
Yeah, looked off speed, had a lot of sharp break at the end. And McIntyre, like you said, just being able to get a piece because he saw it swung early, and I think that's as good as you're going to get on an 0-2 pitch. When it's in on the hands like that, it's just a nub it foul. You're not going to do much with it.
Here's a high drive, but it'll stay in playing range for Tyler Ross in foul territory. He makes the catch. Not a bad start to the summer for Thomas Gerard on the bump, who faces 2 batters, retires 1 with the strikeout, and forces a pop-out. However, the Harbor Hawks add 5. Trevor Hauver goes yard with the bases loaded, and Hyannis is up 8-3.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Doors bats have to go to work here in the latter part of this game. Tyler Ross swings at the first pitch he sees. It's fielded by DeSantelo. Throw on to first and a nice stretch by Carlson for the first out. Billy Corcoran coming in relief last inning. Now in line for the win if Hyannis retains the lead.
They finally got a comfortable lead. It's very rare where Hyannis is able to put up, like I said in pregame, more than 4 or 5 runs. I mean, typically they don't do that. And now they've got 8 runs in this game. They had 9 runs in the first game against Falmouth. It seems like that Hyannis can really only – their bats come alive against the Falmouth Commodores and nobody else.
Smith went yard the last time he was up with a solo shot into left field. He hits one in that same direction, but this one skied in the direction of Hoover, who makes the catch. Correction from what I said last inning, Hoover does not have 6 RBIs. He has 7, because with his reaching base on an error in the first inning, it scored Lucas Dunn. So that makes for 7 errors, 1 on that play, 2 on the 2 RBI single with the bases loaded in the second. And then, of course, when you hit a grand slam, you get 4 RBIs.
Yeah, that'll help.
That will help. And again, Danny, he came into the night with just 2 RBIs on the summer, more than tripling his total in ribbies. Now comfortably in the team lead in that category. Barron Radcliffe fouls off the first pitch he sees. It's 0-1. One and one count now to Radcliffe, who has struggled at the plate. 2 strikeouts, both of them looking. Corcoran from the windup. Delivers low. Barron Radcliffe, a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, rising junior. Batted just 195 this past year down in Atlanta. Tags 1 foul. On deck is Tim Tawa, who reached base on a walk back in the 4th. Ball in the dirt that McDaniel keeps in front of him. Hyannis looking for just their 2nd win of the year, 1-9-1 on the summer. And their first win came just on Sunday in the doubleheader against Harwich. They won Game 2, 7-2, after losing Game 1, 7-2. So a pair of 7-2 games between the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks. Commodores also splitting a doubleheader on Sunday against YD. So Hyannis still in search of their first win against a Western Division opponent. Ball 4.
Really thought it was going to be Barron's 3rd strikeout of the day after falling behind 2 strikes early. But again, another Commodore hitter working out a full count after falling behind 2 strikes. That now makes 3 who have gotten on base doing it. But again, leaving guys on base when they're doing it as well, because they're getting a lot of walks. A lot of guys are getting on, but not getting those hits across.
Tim Tawa, the righty third baseman. Watches ball one low. Righty-righty matchup here with 2 down in the 6th. Commodores looking for a 2-run rally. They've scored all of their runs in the 3rd and 4th. This one tagged over toward DeSantolo, who makes the catch out to his left side. Throws across the diamond. Did Carlson come off the bag? No. He stays on and makes the play. Radcliffe works a walk, but that's about it for the Commodores in the bottom of the 6th as we head to the final 3 innings here at Gov Fuller Field. It's 8-3 Hyannis.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
Let's take you around the Cape League. Hop on in. We'll drive up and down the coast.
Let's do it.
Let's start out in Brewster, out at Stony Brook Field. In a game that took 2 hours and 49 minutes, the Wareham Gatemen took the Whitecaps to the woodshed, 11-0 in favor of Wareham, who now improve to 2 games over 500. Down in Cotuit, just a couple towns over, they're tied up with Orleans 3-3 at Lowell Park. Now, that's a ball field that doesn't have lights. They're only in the bottom of the 7th inning. That may end up as a tie because the sun is rapidly setting. Bottom 7 in Bourne. How about the Bourne Braves, 4th place in the West, beating the Chatham Anglers, who are 1st place in the East by a score of 4-1. That is in stretch time. Hyannis, of course, over Falmouth, 8-3 right here. And top of the 6th in Harwich, the hometown Mariners are up on the YD Red Sox, 1-0.
I really like that Orleans-Cotuit matchup. 3-3 ball game, and that's really interesting because, Danny, you've ranted and raved, rightfully so, about the Orleans pitching staff, best in the Cape League at 258. And Cotuit, their power is just unbelievable. Their hitting statistics are close to best in the Cape League. As far as home runs, they have 14. Jeez. Next highest in the Cape is Chatham with 9. So the Kettleers can hit and the Firebirds pitchers can deal. So I'd love to go back and check out the box score of that one and see what goes down at Lowell Park.
It's a shame it's probably going to end before all 9 innings are played.
Yeah. The 0-2 to Carlson. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. 3-pitch strikeout from Thomas Gerard, who has looked stellar.
Hey, Thomas Gerard has so much movement on his stuff. I mean, this is ridiculous. Just watching him right now, the way he ran roughshod through Hunter Goodman, got Mitch McIntyre 0-2 quickly, a couple of really good pitches to him, and now Brooks Carlson pitches out of the zone that he's even chasing. That's how good those pitches look, is when they're way out of the zone in the dirt, and he's still going around.
He's faced 3 batters, struck out 2 of them, and forced a pop fly in foul territory, which Tyler Ross fielded. Strike 1 to Rigsby Mosley, and he works quickly, and he fires strikes. Still has yet to fire a ball on the Cape. That's crazy. 11 strikes, no balls. This one is a line drive over towards Kevin Kendall. No problem for him. 2 down.
Better yet is like the final 2 pitches to Carlson and the first one to Mosley were all in the dirt. So you got swinging strikes. I mean, not many guys can get a swinging strike on a pitch that's about 58 feet into the dirt right onto home plate on the first pitch of the at-bat. He just did that against Rigsby Mosley. Comes back with a fastball much higher, about knee-high, and Mosley puts it on a line right at the shortstop, Kendall. But, boy, Thomas Gerard, I mean, 12 strikes, and not all of them in the strike zone. A lot of them swinging. Pretty good stuff.
DeSantolo will try to keep this inning going for Hyannis. He watches a strike on the outside part of the plate, and Gerard continues to deal. In talking to some of these players, I was told that Thomas Gerard's slider is just filthy. And all of his stuff has looked filthy so far in this outing. Again, 5 runs in the top of the 6th have been the difference. Swinging a miss, strike 2 from DeSantolo.
Just swings right over the top of it. It bottomed out right as he was going for it. I mean, this is something else.
Gerard is on the mound ready to go. DeSantolo is going to take his time to get back in the box. Lefty singled his last time up and came around to score the first run of the top of the 6th inning. He also walked and scored in the 2nd. Lights coming on here at Gov Fuller Field, an 8-3 ball game. Tagged foul. Past Chad Gassman. We'll have Nick Mistonee, starting pitcher for the Commodores in Game 2 of the doubleheader against YD, on the mic and in the booth, coming up for the bottom of the 7th inning. So stay tuned for that. We are in the waning part of this game. 0-2 is fouled just past the screen towards the visiting broadcasters from Hyannis. Thomas Gerard exhales. Puts his right cleat on the mound. Looks in to Taylor Smith. They agree. He settles from the stretch. Doesn't pitch from the windup even with nobody on. Again fouled over towards the fans past left field. And a good at-bat worked by DeSantolo. Now the 6th pitch of the at-bat coming and still no balls.
Yeah, he's sneakily been one of the best hitters for Hyannis against Falmouth. Like I mentioned last inning, he went 3 for 4 against Falmouth in Game 1. Already got a hit today, has worked now a couple of very long counts.
Held off the off-speed inside. Gerard looking down to the third base umpire, Mike Hinojosa. But that'll be his first ball of the summer, finally.
Not bad.
17 strikes and 1 ball. That's insane.
Only 1 strike. Oh, no, 2 strikeouts. So still pretty good.
Pretty good. It's all right. The 1-2. Check swing. It's in play. Gerard gets off the mound in a hurry. Throws over to first. What a play from Thomas Gerard. Fires 19 pitches, faces 5 batters, retires them all, and strikes out 2. And he shows off the leather in the field. He's smiling as he heads back to the dugout. We'll be back in the bottom of the 7th with Nick Mistonee.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
All right, we are back here in the bottom of the 7th inning. I'm David Korzanowski. On the far end is Daniel LaRose. In between us, Nick Mistonee from UCLA. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How did you feel about your first start?
Felt pretty good. I felt like I competed. Felt like I went pitch to pitch. Felt like I just did pretty good. I felt like it was a pretty good start to the summer. Felt like I got better. Felt like just a lot of good things to take from it.
Absolutely. As Kevin Kendall, your teammate at UCLA, will start off this bottom of the 7th inning with Johnson still on the mound. Corcoran, still on the mound for Hyannis. What has that been like to have a couple guys from your team in college come with you to Falmouth?
It's really cool. Last summer I had nobody, so
Okay.
I kind of went into that summer not knowing anybody, having to make new friends on the team, and having 2 of my teammates come out here with me has just been really easy. They've made friends too, so we can all intermingle with each other. So
where were you
really
last
nice.
summer? Remind me.
I was in Bellingham, Washington.
He was first team all
West Coast League, yeah.
1.88 ERA or 49 innings pitched. Did you know that?
I did.
You were first team? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm showing him all this stuff. I'm like, I have like half your bio in front of you.
That's one of the most interesting things I've noticed being a broadcaster is like I will see players and be like, I know so much about you and you know nothing about me. So I'm David Korzenowski. This is Danny LaRose from I go to Notre Dame. He goes to Miami. So not really in your neck of the woods. We're more East Coast guys. But talk to us about the Pac-12 because I haven't really gone out of my way to watch too much Pac-12 baseball, but when I do, I've just been so impressed.
He's always in awe of the
I really am. It's just I don't know. I look at programs like UCLA and Stanford, and it just seems to be just another level. What do you have to say about that?
Well, the Pac-12 is a very, very competitive conference.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play. I was injured the entire year pretty much,
Right.
so I didn't get to experience it firsthand. But from the dugout during our home series, I just could see the intensity from both teams. It was a very competitive series from Friday to Sunday. From every single pitch, it was just let's compete no matter what. And
Sure.
from the other Tuesday games, I mean, you didn't really get that. So every Pac-12 series was a dogfight, no matter who you were playing.
So you just capped off your freshman year, right? And
Yeah.
you just explained how you were injured most of the year. What kind of emotional roller coaster is that? I mean, you show up to college, you're on the #1 team in the country.
This one tagged into left field,
Boy.
a base hit for your buddy, and probably some good luck from Nick Mistonee up here as Kevin Kendall reaches with a leadoff single.
So you show up, you're on the #1 team in the country, and then you get injured. And then that's not it. You come back in the regional in an elimination game, and you are fantastic, get the win, 7 strikeouts, 5 innings pitched. You give your team a spot to go to the super regional. I mean, what's that like to first of all get injured in your freshman year and see your team be so successful, and then to come back and be an important cog in the postseason run?
Well, sitting in the hospital bed when they told me I was going to have surgery, they said, you're probably going to be out for somewhere between 3 to 5 months. And I kind of took that with a grain of salt, knowing the kind of person I am. But I was very upset because I made my first 2 starts. I was really excited the way I started, really happy with that. And getting this news was just I really know how to explain it. It was not what I was looking for, but I was like, all right, let's go. I didn't really have a bad attitude towards it. I was like, all right, this is a chance for me to get better, go ahead and learn more about myself, and kind of just went for it. But then coming back, I didn't think that I was ever going to get that start. I didn't think that I was going to get into that starting the elimination game in a regional, never pitching in that kind of game before.
Right.
So it was definitely an emotional roller coaster to say the least, but you just gotta grind and get through it and have a good attitude towards it. That was my attitude. Just have a positive outlook on it. You go ahead and be what you can be for your team. Pretty much just a dugout guy. Just go ahead and cheer on your team. Make sure everybody has good morale in the dugout and kind of take it from there and then see where it goes.
Worked out for you.
Yeah.
0-2 is the count to Hayden Cantrell. He watches strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. Didn't like that call, and it's the first out of the inning. First strikeout for Billy Corcoran as well. And one thing that you said caught my ear. You said, knowing the kind of person that I am, I took that with a grain of salt. Like, how would you describe yourself and I guess your resiliency?
Just a hardworking person.
Yeah.
I mean, dealt with some adversity, that being one of the times I've dealt with it. But just going ahead and our coach uses the word grind.
Right.
Just grind every single day. Find a way to get yourself better. And I've been preached that since day one. So that's kind of been ingrained in my personality, and that's kind of who I've grown to be. I like to think of myself as a hard worker.
Sure.
So I talked to your teammate, Kevin, about this. Got it up right here. But Michigan playing Vanderbilt right now for Game 3. You guys at UCLA obviously knocked out by Michigan. And what he told me was that, still few words to say about it. He's like, it still hurts. Nothing's going to make it not hurt. But it feels a little bit better, seeing how successful they've been. going all the way to now Game 3 of the College World Series. Do you have the same mentality on that? And what did you see in Michigan that, I guess, took the world by storm the last couple of weeks?
I do not have
long pause there. Long pause.
I do not have a whole lot of words regarding that game. I have the same mentality towards Kevin. It hurts. Doesn't. I'm never gonna look at that game again and be like, oh, I'm happy that it turned out that way, because you shouldn't have that mentality no matter what. But what I noticed is that they were a very, very competitive team. From the first pitch to the last pitch, they never let up, and they just played with sort of passion and fire that you didn't really see in a whole lot of teams the entire year. They knew that They knew that they were the underdogs, and they knew they didn't really have a whole lot to lose. So they kind of went into that series going, all right, we're playing the number 1 team in the country. We were one of the last teams in this tournament. Let's just go for it and see what happens. So you could tell that they were just playing with a little chip on their shoulder.
1-0 is the count to Trey Cruz. Zach DeLoach flew out to left field. I do want to talk a little bit more about your start and your pitching in particular. So there was this one pitch that we were trying to pin down. It looked too fast to be a changeup, but it had some dive to it. Do you have like a sinker?
I think it's a sinker.
Or is it like a 4-seam or 2-seam? Do you know what we're talking about? It seemed to be your punch-out pitch, and it looked too fast to be off-speed.
So my last start, I threw a fastball, a slider, a changeup, and a curveball.
Okay.
I did not throw a sinker.
Is your changeup like 85 miles an hour?
It ranges between 82 to 84, touching 85.
All right.
That's probably
what we saw.
Maybe it was just a fast changeup.
Because that had nasty movement, and something Hayden Cantrell told me is that a good changeup is the toughest pitch to hit in baseball, and yours looked like a really good changeup.
We practiced that pitch every single day at school. So our Coach Savage is very adamant about having a good changeup. He thinks a good changeup is the best pitch in baseball.
Yeah.
So it definitely shows.
He's onto something.
Yeah, he is a very good pitching coach in that regards.
3-1 is the count to Cruz. Running is Kendall. This one skied on the infield, and Trey Cruz isn't happy. Slams the bat on the way to first. Calling off everyone is the shortstop, Anthony Servideo. Nick, this has been great. We hope that you're selling 50-50 soon, so you can join us back in the booth.
Yeah, sweet.
All right, thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for having me.
We'll toss to break and be back for the 8th inning. It's still 8-3, Hyannis.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
New pitcher for the Commodores, believe it or not, Danny.
I'm
Thomas Gerard was dealing. But they will go to Bryce Miller for his second outing of the summer. Last time he came in was in a closing scenario against Wareham, and it was a little dicey against the Gatemen as he loaded the bases, but did get out of the jam and preserve the win. He comes in the 8th with a 5-run deficit.
Yeah, so after all that hullabaloo that happened against Wareham, still came out of it a 0 ERA after his 1 inning of pitching and 2 strikeouts. Bryce Miller, coming off of a successful sophomore year at Texas A&M. 4-1, 2.51 ERA. Not bad.
Not bad at all, and Thomas Gerard might be my new favorite pitcher. I mean, he was unbelievable in his appearance for the Commodores.
I haven't heard you rave about stuff with that much movement since Nick Mistonee pitched on Sunday.
He pitched an inning and 2/3 and was perfect. No hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. And I was really impressed with that play at the end of the top of the 7th when he bounced off the mound, came back to the side away from where he was falling, fielded the ball and threw a strike over to first.
Yeah, what I loved about it was how he paused. I don't know how he knew, but it's like he had eyes in the back of his head. He knew that who was it, DeSantolo, pardon me, didn't have the most speed, and somehow he knew that. Gets off the bag, takes his time, and fires a strike. A lot of pitchers you'll see get off the bag really quickly, try to throw one off balance, end up overthrowing, and then what becomes a single, an infield hit turns into 2, bases. Instead, he takes his time, and it seems like he knows what he's doing off the mound.
We do have one defensive substitution in Jackson Coots at first base. He comes in for Tyler Ross. 2-2 count now to Chad McDaniel. Miller delivers. This one stung into left field. But there and making the catch is Austin Maisel, another defensive substitution.
I enjoyed having Nick Mistonee up in the
He was
booth
great,
with us.
yeah. You can tell he thought a lot about what he was saying.
Yeah.
Had a lot of cool stuff to say. And I think that was a great question you had, Danny, too, about that emotional roller coaster, because not many players in college baseball go through that, never mind for the #1 team in the country, and then pitching in a regional.
He was only a freshman, too.
Yeah.
So, shows up to school, gets that injury, and like you said, he had that resiliency. He came back. He had that game against LMU, and I think a lot of people were surprised he got that start. I remember I was watching that game in a Starkville motel,
right?
And I was looking at it, and I was wondering, oh, he's going to be a Commodore, and thinking he's only a freshman, and he's getting the start for a team like UCLA, because so often with the top 10 teams, I know we talked about this a couple days ago, is if you're a freshman, you may be as highly touted as anyone else, but the reason your team's top 10 is because you've got 20 juniors ahead of you who are just better.
Well, he's definitely impressed so far, and he hopes to continue to. But here is a walk issued to Servideo.
Anthony Servideo, right off the bat, gets a 4-pitch walk to lead off, to follow up the flyout from Chad McDaniel. So Bryce Miller comes in. He looks great. He gets a 2-2 count to McDaniel, gets an easy flyout. Things are rolling smoothly. And then all of a sudden, 4 straight balls.
And that was the problem that Miller had in his first outing, was control. Gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, struck out 2 against Wareham. But, again, he loaded those bases and made it a little bit dicey in what was a 3-run ball game, Danny. He got the save, but the winning run was at the plate with 2 down in the top of the 9th. Miller kicks, delivers. Dunn stings one towards the bleachers. That's a scary pitch and a scary foul ball for some of the fans who are still here at Gov Fuller Field.
Lucas Dunn is going to be impossible to put away easily. I know I said it last at bat, but he just fouls every good pitch off, and then he forces you to make another pitch where he's going to blast right back through the middle like he did in his last AB. I mean, this guy, he's a natural hitter, and he's a killer up there.
Dunn stings another one foul back towards the pole. So Miller ahead in this count to Lucas Dunn. On deck, Trevor Hauver, who has been the player of the game, either side. 7 RBIs, a grand slam, a single. That single coming with 2 outs and the bases loaded in the 2nd. Miller from New Braunfels, Texas, delivers. Runner was going, but Dunn fouls it away. His best start of the year was against Kentucky. Had 7 strikeouts against the Wildcats back on March 24th. Miller also drafted out of high school in the 3rd to last round, 38th round. in 2018. He was picked by the Miami Marlins. Miller from the stretch. Servidio's going again. Dunn fouls it off again.
So many good pitches in on the hands, and he's getting quick enough on the hands to fist them away, pushing them towards the opposing the opposing sideline. And I don't know what it is about Lucas Dunn. He just hates to see pitches go by. He's fouling everything off, and eventually Miller's going to have to put one, like I always say, over the plate, and hopefully for Dunn, he's hoping it's a mistake that he can blast.
The 1-2, Servideo again running, and Dunn again staying alive.
And he's getting Miller's best. I mean, he's getting fastballs in on the hands. He's getting breaking balls down in the dirt. Just everything. But, hey, Lucas doesn't give up.
Miller, the 6'3" righty, weighs in at 195. Takes a look over to Servideo. He'll try a pickoff move. Servideo, who's on first, hitless today, but he's reached base 3 times. Ball 2 misses up to Dunn.
This has got to be so annoying for Bryce Miller.
That's the thing is, like, you just get pesky hitters, right, who get under your skin, and then eventually you're going to throw a ball.
Right, and the worst part about it is that Dunn sees it's a ball right away.
Right.
He's down 1-2, and a lot of guys might chase that and think, got to protect with 2 strikes, and he's just like, nope, that's a ball. I'll back away.
2-2. Check swing. Did he go around? Appeal down to first. No, he did not.
I'm surprised that wasn't called a strike. That one looked like it caught a chunk of the inside part of the plate, but maybe it was just a little too far inside.
Yeah, I think it was high, too, as Dunn sort of leaned out of the way of that high fastball.
And now he's forced Miller into a 3-2 count.
Right, and you're 1 pitch away from issuing a walk, even though 2/3 of the pitches you threw in this at-bat were strikes. Servideo running on the pitch. Fouled away. This will be pitch number 10 of the at-bat. That's one thing about Miller as well is the pitch count. He had to work hard to get out of the jam against Wareham. He threw 35 pitches against the Gatemen. Already up to almost 20 here against the Harbor Hawks. The 3-2. Servideo again running. Strike him out, and they won't try to throw him out. So Dunn finally goes down by way of the K. He has 2 strikeouts tonight and only 1 hit. Not indicative of how pesky he's been in the batter's box.
Yeah, shocking that he's got 2 strikeouts. I forgot about that strikeout that came back in the second inning because, as I mentioned, his previous at-bat, on his spring season, he had less than 30 strikeouts, I think it was, or less than 40 strikeouts. He definitely on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to the K. And he's, like you said, a pesky hitter, fouls a ton of pitches off, but credit Falmouth pitching with getting through him, but not getting through this guy.
Yeah, Trevor Hauver has almost single-handedly given Hyannis their comfortable lead.
It's Trevor Hauver 7 and Falmouth 3 at this point.
Had an RBI when he reached on an error in the first, 2 RBIs on a single in the second, and a grand slam with 1 out and the bases loaded in the 6th. That came off of the pitcher Sam Weatherly. Ball 1 in the dirt. Nice block by Taylor Smith. So we've seen 2 home runs tonight. 1 by the man in the catcher's gear behind the plate, Taylor Smith. His first start of the summer in Falmouth. He goes yard over the left field fence. But Trevor Hauver's 4 times as lethal. As the bases were juiced, he fouls back a pitch. It's 1-2.
And both of them were moonshots.
Yeah, both of them were very hard hit balls, no question.
They were no doubters, yanked well over those fences. I mean, pull shots, true to the name. Both guys showing off a lot of strength.
Miller trying to punch out Hauver and end this inning. Takes a look back to Servideo at second and delivers. High. Fastball from Miller. Stays upstairs to the lefty, Hauver. He and the Arizona State Sun Devils bounced in the regional round of the NCAA tournament with 2 losses to Southern Miss. College World Series ending tonight. Either the Commodores of Vanderbilt or the Wolverines from Michigan will be crowned kings of college baseball. But Miller's focused on this at-bat. The slider misses outside 3-2.
His fastball's been really good. It's had a lot of jump to it. The breaking ball, not so much. It's been kind of sitting low or not getting over the strike zone quite as much. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to a fastball here on 3-2. Maybe tries to ramp it upstairs.
Miller in the stretch. Servideo at second. Takes a look back. Lifts the left leg and delivers. This one over the glove of Miller. Fielded by Kendall, who throws on to first for out number 3.
Good play.
Nice play by the shortstop to prevent possibly another run from scoring. Trevor Hopper jogs back to the dugout. And we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Time running out for the Commodores. They trail by 5.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Bottom 8. And the Harbor Hawks go to pitcher 3 in Ben Abram, the rising sophomore with the Oklahoma Sooners.
Ben Abram. Benjamin? You think it's short for Benjamin?
Why not?
I think it's short for Benjamin. Benjamin Abram from Oklahoma. He's originally from Georgetown, Ontario.
Ooh.
A good old Canada boy going down to the Sooner
Canada,
State.
eh?
And he's playing his baseball with the Sooners, a former draft pick of the San Diego Padres in the 38th round in 2018. Bodes well for him. He's coming off of a season where he went 6-4 as a starter, an everyday starter as a freshman, 4.24 ERA, only 16 walks and 52 strikeouts. So not a lot of strike. That's less than a strikeout per inning, but very low on the walk numbers. He was a guy who led all Sooner freshmen in starts, wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Easy ticket to punch to the Cape Cod League when you put up numbers like that.
So we have a couple substitutions. We walked you through them defensively. Jackson Coots came in at first for Tyler Ross. Austin Maisel, who now stands up at the plate, came in left field for Austin Langworthy, who had a tough day at the plate, 0-for-3 with 2 strikeouts. And Blake Dunn out in right for Barron Radcliffe. Austin Maisel hasn't had as many chances as maybe some other players with the Commodores, but when he's gotten his opportunities, he has made the most of them.
Yeah.
He's 5 for 12 on the summer. He's got the best batting average on the Cape, granted a limited sample size, but he's been good when he's been called to. Swing and a miss. Count is now 1-2. And again, Danny, I think that middle of the order, we're again seeing it today. Outside of the hit from Smith, hitters 4, 5, and 6 have gone a combined 1 for 9.
Exactly. It's just been kind of a black hole in the lineup.
The 1-2. Skied into left center field. This is kind of in no man's land, but it's high enough that coming over and making the play is Rigsby Mosley in plenty of time. So now Jackson Coots comes up to the plate.
That 4-hole has been anything but. I mean, with Austin Langworthy, he was 0 for 3, a couple strikeouts and a ground out. Then Austin Maisel with a pop out. So that's usually the spot, the 4-hole, where you want your most power. You would think Langworthy would bring that, but he had a tough day. Maisel doesn't bring it either. So it's still kind of this lineup that has a lot of great pieces in it, still trying to figure out where each guy slots in because there's no true cleanup hitter quite yet.
Jackson Coots takes a cut. Fouls one out of play. So 4, 5, and 6, all of them due up this inning, all replaced from the starters in Austin Maisel, Jackson Coots, and Blake Dunn will come in at the 7 spot for Barron Radcliffe. 0-2 now to Coots. Coots, a .333 average on the summer. He is 4 for 12. Got his first start a little over a week ago on Father's Day, Game 2 against Harwich. Ben Abram gesticulating to his catcher, Cam McDaniel. You mentioned how he's a starter, mostly a midweek starter for most of the year. Got a few weekend starts with the Sooners. This one is a slow ground ball, but it could be trouble. Dunn ranging over, slides, but a wild throw. Dunn made the stop in spectacular fashion, but couldn't finish off the play, and Coots is aboard with an error by the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, Dunn kind of just let that one sail, and that's – you talk about pitchers when they start throwing balls, they open up their shoulders a little bit when they're delivering it. That's exactly what Dunn did, and because of the way he fielded it, he had to come all the way to his forehand side, made the slide and everything, but it's such an awkward angle when you're about like 20 to 25 feet behind the first base bag, and you're also like towards right field, so close to it, so that the way he opened up his shoulders just – it was an accurate throw if he was throwing it straight on, but he just had to turn his body a little bit more and face first base from that awkward angle. It would have been on point.
Righty-righty matchup now for Smith and Abram. It's ruled an error on Dunn. Did a good job to get over and get that ball right on the outfield grass. But couldn't finish off the play, and Coots is aboard.
Yeah, kind of would have been better for everybody involved if he just let it go into the outfield. Coots gets another hit to his average.
Yeah, right.
Lucas Dunn doesn't get tagged with an error.
Well, we talked about Falmouth's defensive woes with their 3 errors today, but Hyannis, even worse with a .955 fielding percentage. That's last in the Cape League entering this evening. Ball 1 misses outside. And looking at how Hyannis has stacked up against other teams in the league, offensively, pitching, and fielding, all between 8th and 10th in the league. 7.70 ERA, that's last in the Cape League. .215 batting average, that's 8th in the Cape League. And then the fielding percentage I just mentioned. But they do have a 5-run lead this evening, hoping to get their 2nd win of the summer.
And they've been playing well against Falmouth, too.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 runs put up in that first game they played. It was a tie thanks to their bullpen blowing a couple of 5-run leads to the doors. And then this game, like you said, it's 8-3. It's looking all Harbor Hawk. They have the 1 win against Harwich, but it looks like they play their best baseball against this Falmouth team.
The 2-2 to Smith. Strike 3 got him looking. Smith strikes out for the 2nd time tonight, moves to 1 for 4 with a solo shot.
Now batting, the right fielder.
Tough call, low, outside, maybe a hair below the knees, definitely caught the corner, but with 2 strikes, that's one you got to protect. And I think Smith is starting to he's going to have to start to adapt to those Cape League calls, because again, these umpires might have a little bit of different experience coming where they're from compared to a D1 guy.
Ball 1 misses way outside to Blake Dunn, who gets his first at bat of the night. Blake Dunn now playing right. He plays for Western Michigan and the Broncos. Righty-righty matchup for Abram. McDaniel setting up on the outside part of the plate. Swing and a miss from Dunn. Blake Dunn, a .374 average last year with the Broncos. 71 hits, 5 home runs. His parents were in town last weekend. They hope to come to see 4 games. They saw 2 on Sunday because of the rainouts on Friday and Saturday. Strike 2 on the outside part of the plate. And Blake Dunn has struggled at the plate this summer. 227 average. Does have 6 RBIs.
4 coming in that one game on Sunday.
And he leads the team in stolen bases as well. We've talked a lot about the Doors being lethal on the base paths. Only 1 stolen base tonight. It was Hayden Cantrell back in the 5th inning. I doubt they're sending Jackson Coots here. What do you think?
No way.
I don't know. 2 strikes, 2 outs, running on the pitch. He wasn't running on the pitch, in case you were wondering. Fouled back.
They need some action on the base paths. This has now been 3 straight innings where they've gotten a guy on base and potentially to leave him on base. The 5th, they got 1 guy on base, left him there. 6th, they left him there. 7th, they left him there. In both the 5th and the 7th, those base runners got on to lead off the inning.
Sure.
But just nothing doing for the Doors when they've got guys on base.
Ball 3 way outside from Abram to Dunn in a full count. Abram, the big righty, he also stands at 6'7", just like the pitcher before him and Billy Corcoran. But he's got 70 pounds on Billy. He's at 264, and Corcoran was at 190. 3-2, back into the screen, foul. Abram's a big boy for sure from Georgetown, Ontario, as you mentioned. Fastball gets up to 92. And out of the freshmen in Oklahoma's pitching rotation, he had the most starts, wins, and the best ERA. So a great future for him. Ball 4 misses outside. And that's something Blake Dunn has done extremely well, is draw walks.
Yeah, he's a walk machine. I mean, this guy, the reason he's got so many stolen bases but only the 5 hits is because he just gets on base pretty much about once per game thanks to the base on balls. And he does it again here. I mean, he fell behind 1 and 2. He's able to work it full. So 3 things that Blake Dunn does extremely well as for what we've seen so far is he's great in the field. He's got fantastic speed. Those go hand in hand. And he's got a great eye at the plate.
8th walk of the summer for Dunn. That leads the team, but he does also lead the team in strikeouts. So still some improvement that Dunn can work on for the rest of the summer. Tim Tawa goes around on the first pitch. It's 0-1. Commodores trying to get a little 2-out rally going here. Jackson Cooch reaching on an error. Blake Dunn working a walk. Tim Tawa now at the plate. Kevin Kendall on deck. Strike 2.
I mean, one swing of the bat could put you right back into the baseball game. You put one into a gap with Dunn's speed on first. You might make it 8-5. Doesn't have to be a home run, just little by little to chip away. You've got 4 more outs to give. And, hey, the way this Falmouth team can hit, the way we know that they can hit, it's very doable.
Tawa with 8 home runs during his sophomore year at Stanford. Here's the 0-2. Chopped in front of Abram. He gets there, but he bobbles the ball. Got off the mound in a hurry. It was towards the direction that he was falling by that first base dugout. But it went off the palm of his glove. He couldn't rebound in time, so a second error for Hyannis here in the 8th puts the bases loaded for Kevin Kendall.
Yeah, just picked up the glove too early pretty much is what happened. You said that he's a big boy, and he had to get that 6-foot-plus frame all the way down to scoop up a slow roller. Knew Tawa had speed, and I think was just trying to get the ball into his throwing hand too quickly. Ends up coming up empty. And now Kevin Kendall, huge opportunity to make a statement.
So most of the fans at Gov Fuller Field, they park themselves on the bleachers by the first base dugout. It's about 10 fans that are beyond the outfield fence. 5 kids playing catch out in center, and a couple sitting on those bleachers out in right center. Boy, if Kendall could deposit one past the fence here, would this be a new ball game? 8-3 is the score. Bases loaded. 2 outs. The 1-0. Off the head of the bat and foul.
I was wondering where you're going with that one.
Try to get a little creative, you know.
Kevin didn't really show it off at all this past year. He had no home runs with UCLA. However, the year before, he did rack up 3. And he's got some good power. I mean, his first hit on the Cape was a long, long double. He put a one-hopper off the wall. Must have put that one 350-plus feet.
So now a meeting out on the mound. Danny, you know who this is talking to Abram right now?
He is the most hated man in SEC baseball.
Yes, sir. Ron Polk. Nickname is Father of SEC Baseball. Legendary coach of your new second favorite team, right? Mississippi State.
Yes, sir.
College Baseball Hall of Fame inductee back in 2009. I would argue he has the most impressive resume out of any coach or assistant coach in the Cape League.
More than Tom Holliday.
It's close with him and Tom Holliday, but the amount that he has done in college baseball, not the professional level and the college level like Holliday has, but he had over 1,300 wins. That's 9th all-time in D1 history for a head coach.
And probably almost 1,300 ejections, too. he prides himself on that. His Twitter, he's got like 10,000 plus followers on Twitter. And I think his pinned tweet is something about when he was at Arkansas, getting ejected from a game and being proud of it.
2-time National Coach of the Year, and a long time ago, Danny. 1973 and 1985. He's been retired out in the SEC for a while now. Here's a high hit ball into deep left field, but not enough on it. Trevor hovers there, and he makes the catch. So the Commodores leave the bases juiced, and they can't bring home Coots, Dunn, or Tawa. It's still 8-3. 9th inning coming up.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Congratulations to our winner.
Bryce Miller back out on the bump, 9th inning. And Danny, still that 5 spot in the top of the 6th has been the difference in this one.
Yeah, the top of the 6th inning, only one runner was left on base for Hyannis. And now if we look back at the Doors, they had just had a chance, top of the 6th inning, no runners left on base for Hyannis. We look at the Doors, however, and they have had 2 chances, once in the 3rd, once just an inning ago in the 8th, with the bases loaded. In the 8th, it was bases loaded 2 outs. In the 3rd, it was bases loaded 1 out. They got 2 runs off of it, but still stranded the bases loaded eventually. They've now left a total of 9 runners left on base. Hyannis has left 8 on. But you point to that 1/6 inning where they were able to get everybody home, and that obviously is the difference.
So Miller fires the first pitch ball to Goodman. Fights back with a swinging strike from the DH. He is 1 for 4 today with a single in the 5th. Reached on a fielder's choice, flew out, and struck out as well. Harbor Hawks hope to get their 2nd win tonight. Sun now completely set. You can see the shining lights here at Gov Fuller Field on your screen. Thank you for joining us here on this beautiful Wednesday. Commodores will head to Fenway Park tomorrow as this ball is foul. So Tim Tawa lofts it back towards Bryce Miller. Harbor Hawks will also head to Fenway, as will the other 8 teams in the Cape League. Doors are slotted to be working out and and taking batting practice, hopefully depositing some over the Green Monster from 12:30 to 3:45. Follow our social media for all the updates from that. We'll be taking some great photos, videos, all that jazz. Strike number 3 swinging to Goodman.
When Bryce Miller throws strikes, he can be really dominant. I mean, from what I've seen from him, he's gotten a couple of swinging strikeouts just in this outing alone. Against Wareham in the 9th inning, he had a couple of strikeouts as well. But it's just when he lets the balls take over, when he lets guys get on base, because of that reason is when he finds the most trouble.
Ball 1 misses up to Mitch McIntyre. And Danny, as we take a look at those scores from the Cape League, remember how you said Orleans and Katuitt would probably end in a tie? Mm-hmm. It has. 3-3. Anticlimactic end to that tantalizing matchup as strike 1 comes in at the knees. Bourne also securing a win over Chatham, 4-1. Yarmouth Dennis leads Harwich out at White House Field. So this and the YD Harwich game are the last 2 games still going on. And the Bourne Braves move to 5-6 and have 10 points. So with the loss tonight, the Doors would now be in 4th place in the Western Division. Here's a 3-hopper over towards Kevin Kendall, who makes the throw. Off the bag was Jackson Coots. So reaching first is Mitch McIntyre.
I think Kendall kind of rushed the throw a little bit. He kind of short-armed it. Once he looked up and he saw that McIntyre was given a good go at the base paths, he was pretty much almost at first base by the time the ball was coming in. It would have been an out, but it would have been a bang-bang play. I don't think Kendall was expecting that. And that for that reason, he kind of short-armed his throw a little bit, rushed it, and, of course, dragged Coots off the bag in doing so.
It's ruled a hit. So Mitch McIntyre, with his first hit of the night, goes 1 for 4. Now Brooks Carlson will get another AB. He's had a little bit of a rough night. 1 single, but he grounded into a double play that ended the 5th inning and got Sam Weatherly out of Dodge after he put 2 runners on and nobody out. The 0-1 from Miller. Strike 2 at the knees. Miller trying to work quickly and get into a groove. He looks into his new catcher, Taylor Smith. Settles in the stretch after taking a peek over at McIntyre, who is running. Throw from Smith on to first. Trey Cruz goes in and out of his glove. Would have been safe anyways.
Good throw from Smith, though. He's got a cannon. That was impressive. Just got to get it up a little bit instead of forcing Cruz to have to pick the baseball, throw it on a line, and he would have him.
Now batting, the right fielder.
Still a strikeout for Miller, so they tried to do a strike him out, throw him out double play, but they'll stick with the strike him out. Carlson's 2nd K of the evening. Commodores pitchers have now struck out a total of 9 batters. Miller with 3 Ks, Strickland with 3. 2 down here in the top of the 9th. Rigsby Mosley swings through a first pitch fastball, 0-1.
And he, after that great first at-bat he had after 0 for his last 14, rockets a double off the wall. Looks like he's figured things out. It was only the 2nd pitch he saw in the game, then goes down quietly. Down in his next 3 ABs to drop to 1 for 4 on the game, and he doesn't look like he's found it again.
Miller's fastball seems to have a little bit more giddy up here in the top of the 9th. 0-2, 2 outs, and a runner on second base in Mitch McIntyre. Miller trying to turn this over to the Falmouth bats one last time in hopes of a late comeback. The 0-2, high. Fans just about cleared out here at Gov Fuller Field. I always like seeing who sticks around. The diehards, the Bill Snows. Yeah, there we go. Bill Snow threw out the first pitch in the doubleheader, or maybe a game before that. Legendary fan of the Commodores. Been here at every game. We got to get him on a feature or something. We got to show the people Bill Snow.
I do plan on interviewing him.
Okay.
At some point for my passion, my side project.
He always sits in the top left corner of these home bleachers.
He's always wearing shorts no matter what the weather.
And he's always carrying his cooler.
Yeah. I wonder what's in the cooler.
The 2-2. Into center field. On a run is Deloach. He's going to field it on a hop and try to throw home, but he bobbles the ball. Coming around to score is Mitch McIntyre. It is 9-3 Hyannis.
Just a good piece of hitting from Mosley. So right after I say he falls to 1 for 4, looks like he kind of lost it again. He's got that touch because that was a great hit. I mean, right back through the middle. Took a belt-tie fastball right back where it came from. And now Mosley with 2 hits gets an RBI as well. And this bottom of the lineup has been really good. Let's be honest right here. I mean, DeSantolo, who's up right now, he's reached base twice, scored both times, has a hit. Rigsby Mosley has 2 hits. And then in the 9-hole, Chad McDaniel also reached base and scored once.
4 runs for hitters 7 through 9. Miller misses upstairs and has some words for himself after that pitch. Pitch count again getting up there for Miller. 43 pitches now for the righty, 25 for strikes. There's another ball. You know what I can't believe I haven't mentioned? The home blacks. I think this is the first time they've worn the home blacks. They usually wear these jerseys away.
Yeah.
This one over towards Tim Tawa, gets past his outstretched glove. Another hit for DeSantolo, and this top of the 9th is dragging on.
And it's a pretty insurmountable lead just for 1 inning, and you don't want to take out Bryce Miller, but as his pitch count gets up and you start to wonder if he can just get that one final out, you don't want to prolong this any further. There's nobody warming up in the bullpen, but if things start to get more out of hand, you might have to get a mound visit, get somebody warming up. Again, it's still only 1 out to get, but at the same time, you just kind of want to stop the bleeding where it is.
Miller will take his time. He wants a new baseball. Lofts it in for Smith, who gives him a fresh. McDaniel now up with 2 runners on. Ball 1 upstairs.
And now he just can't find the strike zone. Like I said earlier in this inning, when he gets into trouble is when he starts to throw balls, because when he's throwing strikes, he is so tough to beat. He's so tough to hit. And now he's missing the strike zone a lot more and falling behind in counts. This is 3 straight counts where he's fallen behind with a ball to start it off.
Home run hack from McDaniel. He couldn't connect. Evens the count up. He did reach base and score in the 6th, Danny, but other than that, some subpar at-bats from the 9-man. I still go back to that attempted bunt in the 2nd inning. This one back towards Miller. It's going to get up the middle. Coming around 3rd is Rigsby Mosley. He's into home without a throw. Double-digit runs for the Harbor Hawks. They're up 7.
I mean, they look anything like the team that struggled to get a win, that only got their first win after dropping their first 8 games of the season. When they play the Falmouth Commodores, they're as good as anybody else. It's the Falmouth pitching that has really struggled. I mean, their bullpen has not been nearly as good as they've wanted it to be. The starting pitching, save maybe Tommy Sheehan, has been leaving a lot to love. And again, Hyannis biting Falmouth in big fashion. 9 runs their first time meeting, now 10 runs this time around. Falmouth also let up 10 runs to Bourne, and that was a really struggling Bourne team at the plate when they met about a little over a week ago. So it's something with the pitching that's going on where they're still trying to find their groove.
Coming into the night, the Harbor Hawks had played 11 games. 1-9-1 was their record. 6 of those games, they scored 2 runs or less. Their top 2 run outputs, both against Falmouth. 10 runs tonight. 9 runs back on June 14th.
I think that just tells you the story in full.
And they're looking to get their 2nd win. First win was on Sunday, game 2 of the doubleheader against Harwich. They won 7-2. Well positioned to make that number in the win column a 2 after tonight. And Danny, despite the run differential that Hyannis has had, definitely not in their favor, minus 49 coming into the night. I think it just speaks to the parity in the Cape League. Even when you have one team that might not be producing, you know, if they get bats alive, they can beat anyone, right?
They're still D1 ball players.
Exactly. It's not like this team's going to go winless for the whole year. This one skied into foul territory. Long run for Maisel. He loses his hat, parks in front of some fans, but he overruns it. 2-2 the count now, and Maisel with a long walk back to his abandoned hat inside of the left field line. He's got to be frustrated with himself.
This is legitimately the inning that just refuses to end.
Right.
I mean, Austin Maisel, he had a marathon to run to get there, and I don't think our camera caught it. But over there in foul ground, he took one step too many, realized it, reached back, and it fell 3 inches from his glove.
I thought it was 4 inches, but maybe 3.
But he did everything right, and then
I
he took the one extra step, realized it, and couldn't come down with it.
2-2 to McDaniel. Outside, ball 3. This one, Miller's got to dig deep. Full count. Fired 53 pitches. 30 for strikes, excuse me. He shakes off Smith once. They agree on a pitch. DeSantolo at second base. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Servideo goes down swinging, and the inning finally ends. 10 runs on 11 hits, 2 errors for the Harbor Hawks. 3 runs on 4 hits, 3 errors for Falmouth. They are down 7 with last licks coming up after the break.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
7-run deficit for the Commodores here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the biggest deficit the Commodores have overcome, or tied up, I should say, is 5 runs against Hyannis. 7 in the bottom of the 9th is a tall order.
Hey, there has been a team that has done it. I don't think it was 7. I'm going to fact check myself right here. It was, I believe, against Wareham. Yep. And Hyannis in the... No, it was more. I was right. Hyannis was leading in the 8th inning. They were leading 5-3, and they let up a 9 spot to Wareham in the 8th. So it's happened before. They lost that game 12-5 despite leading 5-3 a couple innings earlier. So it's been done before.
Right.
They've let up a 9 spot. All Falmouth needs is 7 to at least
All
tie
they need.
it.
Yeah.
All they need.
That's it.
But again, tall order, like you said, and yada yada.
It will be the top of the order, and this might help. This one down in right field. Hayden Cantrell is speeding into second base. A nuke of a throw into short, but not in time. Hayden Cantrell with a leadoff double here in the 9th.
All right, the rest of the lineup may be faltering, but Hayden Cantrell cannot be stopped. He's now reached base 3 out of his 5 plate appearances, first with a hit by pitch, then he got a single and stole a base, strikeout in between, we can forget about that. The double, the bloop single that he turns into a double because he's just got all that speed. He's down 7, he's not going to quit. That's that leadership mentality that Katie Florio talked about. He doesn't say he's a leader, but the way he plays the game of baseball shows it, and he shows it off right there.
2 for 4 is Hayden Cantrell. What does that make him? 8 for his last 11?
Yep, you got it. Pretty good. Just didn't get the RBIs today.
So Zach DeLoach steps in. He has flown out to left field twice, struck out, and walked. He went 4 for 4 in Game 1 of the doubleheader on Sunday against YD. Was held relatively quiet in Game 2. Here's Abram. This one stung into right center field, but under it is Mosley. Hayden Cantrell's going to try to tag. Mosley showed off that arm when throwing in on the Hayden Cantrell double, but no chance to get him at third base, one down.
You know, Doerr's only with 5 hits, one of them just coming in this inning on the Cantrell double. But they've been putting, good wood on a lot of these hits, on a lot of these outs. I mean, the first inning, we talked about it, it was 3 loud outs. It's just a matter of they've been getting a little too underneath each baseball. Hayden Cantrell had it to lead off the game. His fly out to center, where he maybe needed another 5 to 10 feet on it, would have had a home run. And Zach DeLoach right there. Great swing, gets a good piece of it, but just too far under it.
Abram delivers to Trey Cruz, who lifts one back behind our press box. This is Abram's 3rd appearance of the summer. Pitched 4 innings against Orleans and gave up an earned run. Against Katuitt, gave up 4 earned runs and an 11-0 loss. He's found his stuff here against Falmouth. Now his 2nd full inning of work. Abram shakes off McDaniel once, and then they agree on a pitch. He's pitching from the stretch with Cantrell at third. Cruz with a ground ball over towards second base, and the 2nd error of the night by Dunn. Cantrell taps home, and it's 10-4.
That was one of those where it's like hit sharply, and it's going to be an out, it's going to bring home a run, but then the ball kind of feels like it slows down at the end. And all of a sudden it skips up and over to Lucas Dunn. And I mentioned it when he had his first at-bat that he was a center fielder for the majority of the season for Louisville. All of a sudden, Chad Gassman says, hey, welcome to Hyannis, you're playing second base. We know he can play the infield. He's listed as an infield and an outfielder, but it's just kind of the rust that has to wear off after playing so much outfield.
So Maisel up with a runner on and 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Commodores 1 run closer to coming back in this one, but barring a miracle, they'll move to below 500, and Hyannis will get their 2nd win of the year. The left-handed batting Maisel fouls one back out of play. Maisel came to Falmouth this summer with 2 of his teammates from Holy Cross, Alex Volpe and Chris Rinaldi. He is the lone Crusader left on the Doors roster. And rightfully so, batted .312 this past year with Holy Cross. Last summer really struggled, 3 for 21 wearing the maroon and black, but this summer he has been much better. This one skied on the shallow outfield, barely having to move his Servideo. He makes the catch.
That 4-hole, now a combined 0 for 5.
Yeah.
And none of the outs have been hard struck. 2 pop-outs from Maisel, and then Langworthy had 2 strikeouts and a ground out.
So I got a question. You're Jeff Trundy. Who's your cleanup guy?
Hayden Cantrell.
Don't you want him leading off because of the reasons we mentioned?
Yeah, I could see it. You want him leading off because he gets the most at-bats, and he's the one who's getting on base the most. But when he's the one also leading your team in RBIs, and what the Commodores need right now is knocking runners in off of base, because how many times have we seen bases loaded and not getting, the runs home, or 2 guys on, 2 outs, not getting those hits? You need somebody who you can rely on to step up with 2 outs or with guys on base, and Hayden's been able to do that.
Jackson Coots fouls off the first pitch at 0-1. Watches a changeup die. Because right now, I think Hayden Cantrell's stat line, it works as a leadoff guy and it works as a cleanup guy.
Yeah.
Right? I think the fact is the Commodores need another guy to step up to fill one of those spots. Right? And if I'm Jeff Trundy, I'd probably leave Cantrell leading off because that's just where he's more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I think he really sets the tone for the rest of the team as far as the batting order. This one over to Dunn. He dives but can't make the play. Cruz will stop at second base. So Coots with a base hit.
You also don't really know what you have with these Pac-12 guys yet because this is only their second game played. I mean, I could see DeLoach playing in the 4-hole. He's kind of cooled off quite a bit since his awesome 4-for-4 game. But the way Kevin Kendall has been swinging the bat, he's shown off a lot of pop, so he might be able to fit in there. Troy Claunch has played, 3 games? So he's a guy who could throw. He could throw in there.
Yeah. Definitely still early, despite the fact that we're at June 26th. We're still on Game 10. I think today was scheduled to be Game 16 or 17.
Really? Was it that late? I thought it was like 14 or 15.
Because we still have, if you think about it, right, those 5 makeups from last week and the one from yesterday were all supposed to be played by now. So I think you just add 6, and then that's what game we should be on. Codball, if you don't follow them and you're a big fan of the Cape League, follow them on Twitter. It's a group of few guys who follow the Cape League religiously, and they tweet throughout the year, guys who are signing, guys who are playing well in college, and then once the summer starts, they are just probably the best Cape League account out there. Swing and a miss from Smith, except for the Falmouth Commodores Twitter, of course. But Codball had a tweet yesterday where through the first 16 days of the Cape League season, there were 29 rainouts.
That's just ludicrous.
That's insane. You're averaging 2 rainouts a day. You're averaging 2 rainouts a day.
And Falmouth is averaging, they're involved in every one of those rainouts pretty much.
The 0-2, upstairs to Smith.
Codball also mentioned how the worst ever Hyannis Harbor Hawks season, worst ever Cape Cod League season was the Harbor Hawks. I think in like 14 or something, 2014 I think it was. They had 7 wins and 1 tie.
Yeah, that's not great.
He says he does not think that this year's Harbor Hawk team will match that. And so far, so good. They're closely approaching win number 2.
The 1-2, Smith lays off. Coots was moving towards second, but Trey Cruz was going back towards that bag as well, so the runners stay put.
How about that? Imagine, like we said, I mean, there's still D1 ball players. You've still got guys from Louisville, guys from Arizona State. You've still got great talent on your team. And to only win 7 games, like that is shocking.
Yeah, that's tough to do. The 2-2 to Smith.
Ugh.
Strike 3 got him looking. And the game ends in fitting fashion. Commodores come up short against Hyannis. The Harbor Hawks celebrate their 2nd win of the year. Danny, there's a lot we can go through. Let's start with what the difference in the game was, right? That top of the 6th inning in Trevor Hopper.
Yeah, Hyannis, they were able to hit with the bases loaded, whereas Falmouth wasn't able to. Falmouth had 2 chances with the bases juiced, once in the 3rd, once in the 8th. Couldn't get it done. And then in the 6th inning, Hyannis had the same situation, bases loaded, 1 out. Trevor Hopper got a great 3-1 pitch right over the middle of the plate. Blasted it over the right field fence.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is way too good of a hitter to fall behind 3-1 and expect you to get out of it, and also to expect to get away with a pitch right down the middle. And he pretty much did exactly what you would expect him to do. Hyannis was able to get the job done. They didn't strand anybody on base that inning. Falmouth, meanwhile, stranded, 10 guys on base in total. So that's definitely a major difference in this ball game, is that one team was able to put together hits with guys on and one team wasn't.
And looking at the Falmouth offensive statistics, they score 1 run in the 4th inning, 1 run in the 9th, 2 in the 3rd, but those were on bases loaded walks. Let's talk about Taylor Smith and the night he had, both defensively and that home run.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you look at the stat line and it doesn't really jump out to you. He went 1 for 5, 3 strikeouts, 2 of them looking. I got to say, the 2 looking in the 8th and 9th, especially the one that just ended the ball game, those were balls. Those were way outside. Those were way low. Disagree with the calls, but nonetheless, shows up to the Cape just a couple days ago. He's told that you're going to be basically our emergency backup catcher, and also, hey, you're starting the day after you're activated. Goes up, has not the best day in his 4 other at-bats, but also blasts a home run over the left field wall. Really shows off power. Didn't let any baseballs get behind him. Has an arm, too. He didn't get the throw him out over at second base, but he came close. If he just got it a little bit up, he definitely has the velocity and his pop time is great. Yeah. So he's showing off that, I mean, this might be a diamond in the rough that Falmouth just unearthed.
Taylor Smith, he is transferring to Grayson County College from Incarnate Word, and he did the catching for 4 Commodores pitchers today. Danny, again, team ERA struggling. The stats don't really jump off the page at you. Thomas Gerard was good, but another shaky day for the Falmouth staff.
Yeah, the pitching has been leaving, a lot to like. I mean, last year you look at the pitching and the starters were all that. I mean, you had 3 starters in the All-Star game. They were terrific. And then you had so many reliable guys in the pen from day one. Well, now from day one, granted, there's a lot of season to be played, but not a lot of starters really sticking out to you too much. Sam Strickland has, again, kind of like I don't want to say mediocre, but not very, outstanding game where he goes 4 innings, allows 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 Ks. So it's not like he's got crazy strikeout numbers while letting up a lot of hits. It's not like he's totally getting blown out and being bounced after 1 inning of pitching. It's just, nothing here nor there. And again, with the bullpen, there's nobody really you can bring in and say, that guy's going to shut you down, no doubt about it, except for maybe Thomas Gerard, who was brilliant.
Yeah, Thomas Gerard faced 5 batters and walked none, struck out 2. Losing pitcher for the Commodores in his second outing is Sam Weatherly. He gave up that grand slam to Trevor Hauver. Your winning pitcher for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, Billy Corcoran, his first win of the year. For Hyannis, Falmouth moves to 5-4-1. Hyannis moves to 2-9-1. For Danny LaRose and Tony Bianco, I'm David Korzanowski saying so long from Gov Fuller Field, where your final score is Hyannis 10, Falmouth 4. We'll be back at it on Friday against Yarmouth Dennis out at Red Wilson Field. As for tomorrow, we'll all be shipping up to Boston. Sorry, I had to put it in there.
That's good.
We're all shipping up to Boston for the Fenway workout tomorrow. Be sure to stay tuned to our social media and our YouTube channel for some great content from that. From Gulf Fuller Field, I'm David Korzanowski saying so long and good night.